Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to The Crossover. Starring Josh Johnson and Chris McGill. Featuring Christina Thorson. And of course, you, the Instagram live chat. Now, sit back and enjoy this week's edition of The Crossover. Powered by Card Ladder.
Hey Josh, what comes before Part B?
Part A.
Part A!
Part A!
Let's go.
You guys are so dad jokey.
I stole that from, from Q.
Dadjokes.com.
All right. Happy Friday. See, the Suns are engaged in a close one here.
They are. They're down 14 going into the fourth, and they're making a little run.
Man, they're good in the fourth quarter. They're like historically good in the fourth quarter. Okay. So, I have a zit right here, and it's like I have three eyes. All right, it's distracting me. Okay. Let's welcome everybody to the crossover. Today's Friday, March 11th. And we may have a very special guest tonight coming in soon. So let's see if we can quickly do mail days and announcements before he hops on.
Maybe he'll explain why a bunch of people got a box of that, but we didn't get one.
We got questions for him.
All right. I don't have any mail days, dude. And I don't have any announcements.
Wow.
I've been working on stuff for you guys this week. I don't have any features or anything.
Yeah, no, that's right. Yeah, all the features and the work that's been done on the back end, which has been a lot, has been to help our new researchers. So I have a few mail days, though.
Of course you do. Oh.
This is a 2021 Panini Gold Standard, McCaffrey 1/1. This product recently came out. Had to jump on it. And this is a 2017 Donruss. Panini, obviously, McCaffrey Gold Die Cut Rookie, PSA 9, number to 25. So
those are, I've never seen those shaped like a window.
Yeah. Yeah. So
They're like a jambalaya shape on the top.
Oh, Christina has some mail days as well.
I have a mail day. I have the Maxi Kleba Fast Break 1/1.
Boom.
Boom.
Nice. Christina, did you complete that rainbow?
Yes, I did. There were only 3 cards. It was base gold out of 10 and then black 1/1.
Awesome. What's up, Jordan? Okay. All right, so that's it for mail days and announcements. So let's... What time is our guest coming on? Sorry, we should be a little more prepared than this.
A plane was delayed. I know that. At one point today, a plane was delayed. So
A plane was delayed. What do you mean, Sasha? Episode 1. Episode 1. That's when.
Why are there little hearts below everyone's comments?
What do you mean?
Like on my screen, on the below everyone's comment, there's like a little heart, like almost like I can like it. Oh, I can.
What? How come I can't like it?
Probably because you're on an iPhone, you bum.
What?
I can like people's comments in the chat.
Oh, this is unfair. Since
At first,
when?
I was like, oh, people keep using this like weird heart emoji. Like maybe I missed out on something, but no, it's on every comment. It's like it's like a thing. Yeah, there. I just like Cards and Candy's comment. Can you see that I like it?
Do it again.
Oh, sure. Update the app, Chris. Like, it's on mobile for Android too. Apparently, it's like an app update. Maybe you just need to update.
Maybe I do. Like me, Mikey the Breaker would like a like, please. Okay.
I don't know.
Too late.
We don't
I
know.
always skip comments one at a time.
Just start the show and then we'll
All right.
cheer up the program.
I like a good surprise, so he'll just surprise us. Or she.
Well, all right, we'll update the app. All right, so here's the thing. we have a bunch of questions pertaining to Zerocool Cards' new release, VeeFriends. And how about this? How about we start with this? This is from Blades of Steel. How excited are you, Josh, about the Gary V and Fanatics collab?
I'm excited to like see Fanatics and Josh Luber kind of kick things off. You know, I'm excited to see what the patterns they're gonna build, what sort of like processes they have, what sort of cadence and releases and stuff. And I like the thought that they had around, you know, how we are intentional about serial numbering these cards and how we limit the release, the reverse Dutch auction, or blind Dutch auction, sorry. It's like I like that there's intention around some of the things they've been talking about in terms of controlling the supply. But, you know, to be honest, not interested necessarily in this product per se, but more interested in kind of, you know, the process of the release.
Well, let's talk about the process of the release a little bit.
Sure.
We had a few questions about...
The response I got to my text message was, new phone, who dis? So when that person figures out who that is based on the sentence that I wrote to them, they can join crossover.
Who dis? Can you explain the Dutch auction for those that maybe don't know what that is?
Yeah, so, and look, hopefully this is clear. So the way that the Dutch auction works is there's a finite amount of supply that you can buy. And anybody can bid on that supply, but their bids are completely blind. Nobody knows what anybody else is bidding ever throughout the process. So let's say that there's 10 boxes for sale and 1,000 people bid. The top 10 highest bids will be allocated to the 10 boxes, right? So if the top 10 highest bids are 1,000, 900, 750, 700, 700, 700, 700 until it fills up to 10. Those 10 bids get allocated to the top 10 boxes. However, the lowest bid of the 10 highest bids, the lowest one, which would be $700, that becomes the clearing price
for everybody.
And then everybody only pays the clearing price. Nobody pays higher. So you can come in, you could, look, if you wanted to be a real living on the edge type of guy, you could bid $1 million on this Zerocool VeeFriends release and be confident that it's not going to go for $1 million and that you will comfortably land above the clearing price and you'll get it at the clearing price. But that could be really dangerous if a bunch of people got that idea at once.
I mean, it's a cool idea, right? Because you're not just like intentionally being greedy and like taking extra money when it doesn't need to be taken. You're just like treating it as a fair market value.
Yeah, I think that's right. So do you think that we had a question come in, it's somewhere buried in the questions list here. Do you think that the blind Dutch auction, it could be the future of the way that products are released?
Yeah, I mean, if Fanatics is in charge of the releases and this is what they want to do, do we have a choice? I think it's more like, do you like it or not?
Yeah, exactly. Well, do you like it?
I do like it. Yeah, I like it. It's better than what's the one we have now, where it's like, it is weird that like people are, you know, when it's like the falling knife and you're like bidding until it stops the bidding, and then the people who bid up at the front have to just pay that price. That's a little frustrating for that person when it's like, oh, I could have got it cheaper, and you feel like you lost or something. Like it's some sort of gamble. Versus this is like, it kind of favors more towards people who actually just want to buy the product.
Yeah. And the thing, look, I haven't heard people talk about this, but isn't there some FOMO to this too? Like, isn't there a strong pressure to bid something actually really, really high because you're in constant fear of what everybody else is bidding? So you're okay. And especially after this product, right? Like nobody knew what this was going to go for. The clearing price, according to Zerocool Cards, the clearing price ended up being $2,150 across 22,644 bids. That's a lot of bids. So you know, to me, and to I heard this from a lot of people that they feel nervous, you know, or they feel upset that they bid like 2,000 and they just barely lost. So you know, it's interesting, and I guess part of this too, right, Josh, is that the quantities and the checklists are known. So we knew that there were 800 boxes being released. We knew that one customer could buy up to 40. And we knew what the entire checklist was, how many 1-of-1s there are, how many base cards there are. What do you think about that? What do you think about the transparency that Zerocool has installed into this format?
I mean, I like it. Do we know like exactly what cards are in each of those serial runs? Because you basically knew that in the 90s, but there was still some mystery in the 90s. It was like you got the pack odds of like the inserts and the parallels, but you didn't quite know what players were in it necessarily. There was some mystery. But yeah, the transparency is obviously good. You know what you're getting into, you know the odds, you know like potentially what you're after. I think these are already selling for like a lot on eBay, right? They're probably already selling for double.
How much
so it's just like
for? 3x.
3x? So they're selling for $6,000? Yeah, Christina already got the boxes put into Card Ladder. The Zerocool VeeFriends box.
But you have to remember that, like, it's 3x, and that seems like, you know, a little, like, crazy. But international people couldn't participate without a U.S. address. So you have all of the international collectors who can only participate via secondary auction, like secondary market.
Got it. All right.
And also end of the show. Just landed, like has to get to the hotel. It's going to be a while.
Okay, good. Well, then we can talk a bunch of shit about it right now and he won't even hear it.
Nope. Yeah.
Okay, so how about this, Josh? What do you think about the clearing price of $2,150 per box?
I mean, let's be honest. You know, this is kind of the part that people probably want to hear my opinion on, but like, it's obviously like a really high price for something that, you know, I would assume a lot of people don't necessarily have a ton of interest in. They're just hoping to flip it. And now we're, you know, seeing people just flip it because they want to make money. And that's usually the driving force of these. That's the driving force on the Panini stuff as well. A lot of times is like people just want to get the boxes and eventually the collectors end up getting it at the end, but it kind of goes through the flipping process. So that part always bothers me. But this one is a little bit easier for the collector to get their hands on than before. You know, you just put in a bid and try to win, whereas before it was like you had to like be fast, you had to beat the bots, then you had to, you know, catch the knife and stuff, so it was a little bit trickier. And then, you know, the Panini's giving them to distributors, giving them to breakers, so it's like a little bit tougher for the collector to eventually get their hands on it. This is a little bit more democratized. But, you know, my opinion always on this stuff is like, you know, people are just trying to flip it, so it kind of like, you know, deflates the balloon a little bit for me, knowing that that's usually the end game.
Yeah. So look, let's contextualize this price a little bit. So I went to Card Ladder sales history and just searched for boxes that were in the $2,000 range, and you've got 2020 Spectra Football, which is the Burrow Herbert rookie class. You've got 2019 Prism Basketball sealed hobby box. That's at $19.75. A couple other Prism boxes in that range. 2003 Upper Deck Finite hobby box factory sealed, a little over $2,000. 2021 Immaculate Football, $2,000. Just kind of giving a 1996 Fleer Metal Series 1 is a $2,000 box. Just kind of giving some context for what else $2,000 can get you box wise.
I have sort of a hot take on. Oh, the Suns are winning now. These guys are ridiculous. I have sort of a hot take on the price. I think that the actual like market value is going to settle in right around what the clearing price was. Like we're seeing the $6,000 because of the FOMO on eBay and, you know, the excitement around the flip and stuff. But it's probably going to end up settling around where like the market dictated it should have been through the blind auction. Like the blinds kind of tell you, you know, you can't really hide what the market value is because it's just strictly a blind auction. Like it's really what the people think it should be. So I think that the actual like mental, you know, thought that went into that is going to kind of play itself out in the actual market long term because we've already seen what it does in a blind test.
That's true. I guess, though, the supply becomes dramatically different when it's only resale market now because maybe only 10 people are willing to throw them up on online markets, right?
less boxes now sealed, right? People are opening them.
Yeah.
Do people have them yet, or is that am I way off? They're not shipping them yet.
They just announced the clearing price today.
Yeah.
So only the fancy influencers get these boxes opened early, not us. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Exactly
Just
right.
checking on that.
Only the fancies.
Yeah. Got it.
Only the fancies. Okay. Oh, this is a great one from. First of all, just shout out to Collectors League, Jeremy, who just wanted us to talk VeeFriends, and we are. Gouty Gum had an interesting question, a very sharp, pointed question, but I love this question. He said, "Will any quote influencers actually be critical of Zerocool and Josh Luber, or will they just take their free $2,000 box?"
So, I mean, by this logic, I should just be ripping all over it because I didn't get one, right?
Well, let's go. Are you going to be critical of it or what?
I mean, no, I don't know. What's to be critical? It's VeeFriends. We know what it is. It's Gary Vee's thing. It's the NFT crossover, world into cards. I'm not sure what's to criticize it. I mean, it is what it is. It's not for me, I guess, but I would assume there's some popularity around it. There's people enjoy the characters. People enjoy Gary and his following. So, damn it, now the Suns are losing.
Cage says, "Let it be known, I got no free box." If Cage didn't get a free box, something's wrong here.
We're definitely not getting one.
In the priority rank, the rank hierarchy here, something's very, very wrong. All right, well, can I give you a spin that's not original to me, but that I liked? And this spin came from Rips Cards, Adam Rips, who's somehow involved in this project, with maybe on the Gary Vee side. But he basically said, aren't we basically inviting digital collectibles people who know about and like VeeFriends or NFTs or other types of digital collectibles and who are very excited about that space? Aren't we turning the tables on them? Who they've been, whether it was Top Shot or the other projects, they've been poaching us. They've been coming into the hobby and poaching us. Look, get NFTs. Look at how exciting these are. Frictionless marketplaces, ease of transaction, one click away. They've been poaching us sports card guys for a year or two now. Well, now we're poaching some of them. Now we're offering a product that contains the content that they want, the VeeFriends, but in the format that we like, which is 2.5 by 3.5 inch pieces of cardboard. What do you think about that? What do you think about how the turntables have turned? I don't know. What's the Michael Scott
quote? The tide tables have turned.
Yes. What do we think about that? Is that a fun take or is that overblown?
No, it's a fun take. I mean, you might as well enjoy it. I said this to you over text, but the reality is probably more so that the people who are drawn to the NFTs are drawn to these VeeFriend cards for the same reason they were drawn to NFTs, and that's to make money on them. So I don't know that they're necessarily going to be taken aback by the physical nature and the artistry of it. And if they're going to be like, oh my gosh, cards in the physical form, this is what I've been dying for. Now I'm an actual collector. I'm not sure if that's going to happen. It might, it might. But the irony is not lost on me. The fun of it, as you say. Yeah.
All right. It's a fun take. And is this vindication, real vindication of the cardboard format, that we had a clearing price of $21.50 on an 800 box release and secondary market is 2-3x that already? Is this vindication that you can even take something that was purely designed for the digital realm, slap it on some cards, put the Josh Luber Zerocool brand on it, put Gary Vee's influence behind it, and you've got a smash hit, first ever of its kind product release that is the very first trial run of a lot of different things, including the blind Dutch auction? Is that a fair take, that cards have proven themselves more than viable yet again?
Yeah, of course. I think that's a pretty easy leap. All right.
Well, that's okay. One last thing we'll give some voice to here, because we've said nice things so far, and that's good. I think there are nice things to say. But there's some criticisms that are worth mentioning here too. And the criticisms are, first of all, sports card collectors are a bit confused by this product release. And card collectors know that this is not for them. Sports card collectors know this is something under the zerocool brand. This is pop culture cards. Okay? So, but sports card collectors still feel overlooked. They feel like somehow, sports card collectors are, of course, the heart and soul of this industry, whereas entertainment and pop culture cards are on the fringe. And sports card collectors are just a little bit nervous that the first release is an integration with NFTs. It's a tag team with an influencer. It's, promoted and geared towards popular culture. And sports card collectors are like, really? This is the first release? Like, this is the first release that really Josh Luber, who's now the most influential thought leader in cards, this is what he leads off with and the symbolism of that. So what do you say to sports card collectors who just feel a little bit overlooked, or they feel a little bit like this product is very much business oriented, bottom line oriented, and it's not really speaking to their interests as sports card collectors?
Yeah. This is obviously like a question for Josh, and like I'd rather just hear his response to what you said. My guess is that the pop culture stuff was an easier thing for them to test and not have to worry about all of the existing pipe work of how Topps works, how sports licensing works. They didn't have to deal with autographs and athletes. They could just make these without anyone's permission and just sort of like see how it goes, and like I said, test the process and the flow. This just seemed like a much easier launching point and not have to worry about all the extra pieces to the sports card world. But I don't know. We'll just have to ask him and see what he says about that.
All right.
It's a valid question, right? It's like the sports card community would have went apeshit if it was like some special release of Topps Chrome or something, or some collab with Topps Chrome with some athlete or something. I think people would have went nuts over that.
Right on. All right. Our dear friends Carmen and G, the Lucky Show, are saying that they're watching this in their Oculus headsets or Oculus 2 headsets. Look, the people really seem to enjoy the metaverse content from last week and some of the NFT stuff. So look, we had a question come in this week from Frozen Inferno Collectibles, who wants to know, are there any announcements regarding the launch of the Meta Ladder? The Meta Ladder. So look, and Cage is in the chat. Shout out to Cage and Andrew. We appeared on their podcast today. Very gracious hosts as always. It's a great episode when it comes out tomorrow. Listen to it, please. But all right, having said that, fire off some takes to keep the people entertained on NFTs. You had a great take on their show today. Shout out to Poleax, by the way. What do you say, Josh?
Man, it's early in the night to be.
It's so early.
It's gotta come to me organically, and I gotta build up the shit talk. I can't just you can't just throw it to me.
I think natural transition because everybody wants it. The chat is pining for it.
The general rant. Suns missed a 3 to tie the game at the end. The general rant is like, the tech around the metaverse, like when it's actually going to be ready for me to test it, then I'll test it out and I'll try it. But, it's just not ready yet. And also that relative to the crypto and NFT space, the VeeFriends, I don't see how they're correlated or related in any way. So I'm not understanding the tech. Yeah, it's just that I don't understand, Chris. Maybe if you just did your research, you'd actually understand and do it. You would like it better. So I don't know.
Probably nothing. It's probably nothing. All right, let's move on. We've got a ton of questions as usual, and we await our guests to join. So this question comes from Bruin Killer, and it's modeled after a take that you first gave on the Collectible podcast. And we've done a lot of podcasts this week.
Yes, we have. That's why I didn't do any work this week. All you guys keep inviting me on your dang podcast.
Okay. So Bruin Killer says, baseball is back. Did the media coverage of the lockout end up helping baseball card prices? So expand a little bit on that.
Yeah, sure. Well, it's no secret that we don't watch baseball and we don't really know much about baseball. And this is the most we've ever talked about baseball. Is just because there is a lockout and it's like a big topic. It's an interesting topic. They're obviously discussing like rule changes during this thing. They're talking about like speeding up the game. They're talking about like the spotlight is really on the fact that the younger fan isn't as interested in baseball. And so this is sort of like this forced discussion around what do we do as an organization, as a league, to try to improve some of those things. So it's kind of made it a little bit more interesting for someone like me that hasn't watched or, hasn't been interested in baseball in the current format. So if they're going to be forcing specific changes to engage people like me, I'm going to pay attention. And then, more interest in the hobby side of it, more interested in the sport, more prospecting because they're not playing these things together. I actually think it's going to end up being you said this, Ian, it's obviously true now. They're going to end up playing the same amount of games anyways. Like nothing even changed for them. They're getting a full season.
Love that take. And like you also put this to your story, and then you put what the baseball index has looked like. So like here's what the baseball index looks like over the last year. The index has gone from a value of about 10,500 to a value of about 15,000. It's increased by 42%. So baseball has made a tremendous jump this year, even before the season has begun. And it's just so interesting the way that ultimately worked out. This turned out to be the best.
You think it was planned that way by those guys? They're drumming up some interest?
I don't want to put the tinfoil hat on during hour one.
Ooh.
But man, it sure did work out well.
Oh, they're like, look at that, dang. We got more engaged and we get the full season. Look at that.
Right, exactly. All right. Mostly 90s basketball cards says, which VeeFriend does James Harden need help from after his performance last night? I want to talk a little bit about that. Bill Simmons said in his Thursday night podcast after that game that 76ers Nets game was the most important game of the season. And James Harden had 11 points, 6 rebounds, and 5 assists. And it was a blowout from wire to wire, basically. So I said the empathy elephant is what James Harden could use right now. What do you think? Do you have any takes? Are we making too much out of that one game? What do you think about that Nets?
Yeah, I don't see how it's the most important game, other than just from like a pure entertainment factor. Like the build up to it was pretty solid, and then like the whole Kevin Durant and Joel Embiid chirping was like pretty good entertainment. I thought that was fun to watch, like those guys yelling at each other and stuff. And then obviously the Ben Simmons thing, the Harden thing with Durant, and then Durant after the game said, he basically said like it was just a regular game. If it wasn't for you guys, the media, making it a big deal, it would just be another game for us. And it's like, yeah, sure, Durant, like you obviously had a little bit of extra juice for this game. I don't really believe you, but the more interesting piece of it to me is that the Nets destroyed them, and Durant and Kyrie played, I think, their 6th game together this entire season, and they killed them. It's like people have been in the media in the last couple of weeks quick to dismiss the Nets, and it's like, yeah, but you haven't actually seen their team, so how can you dismiss what you don't know is going to happen? And when those two guys play together, they fucking light up the Sixers and beat them by 30 on the road. So it's like, yeah, maybe not quite time to write off the Nets just yet. What do you think about that?
I love that. I'm right there with you. The Nets now are the 8th seed at 34-33. They are 4.5 games back of the Cavaliers, who are 2 seeds higher, in the 6th seed. They would have to leapfrog the Raptors as well, who are 2 games up on them, in order for them to get out of the play-in. It looks very much like they're going to be in the play-in. And that's a little bit fraught, but they'll have 2 chances. If they're at the 7 or the 8 seed, they'll play the 7 seed first. If they lose, they'll have another chance. I think the Nets are going to be in the playoffs. I think one of those top 2 teams are going to have to play the Nets. And I think I would be scared shitless if I had to play. Shout out Roy Wally, by the way.
Dude, the whole NBA, every NBA fan should be praying that the Nets win that first play-in game so they play the Sixers in the first round. Just please, we deserve that series. Like, even if you're like rooting one side or the other, you have some other interest, like you got to at least want to see that series in the first round. Who doesn't want to see that? Because if they don't match up in that first round, it's going to be harder for them to find each other. Got to see that series.
Yep. I also, like, just because one team loses to the other by 30 points, first of all, it's very difficult to game plan for the Nets right now because we haven't seen them and we don't know what they're going to do and we don't know who's going to play. And the 76ers have only had their roster together for half a dozen games. So I think there's a big risk of reading too much into the outcome of that game.
Harden was like 3 of 20. He's not going to do that again. Or 3 of 17. Yeah.
Exactly. But we're so craved for that playoff content that we just want playoff games now. And
I mean, why not?
and why not? Now that the
Bring it
baseball's
on.
over, we can think about basketball again.
Right.
All right. I love this question. And I'm glad we're getting this question early because this was a theme of our discussion with Cage and Andrew today as well. In Cardboard Veritas says, if somebody was picking a new hobby and cards was an option, what would you say to them?
I would ask them questions. I just don't like leading in. This is my take on this. I don't like leading in with like, you should do X, Y, or Z. Yep. You know, you should buy these cards, you should invest in LeBron, or you should buy VeeFriends. You know what I mean? That just seems disingenuous to me. And I know I'm not like criticizing the question. I'm just sort of spinning it into like what kind of like the way that you and I think about this. And I just start asking them questions like, oh, do you like sports? What teams do you like? What players do you like? Why is cards one of your options? Like, what about it kind of drew you to it? And then we can kind of go from there and come up with some sort of like pseudo plan. I mean, what did you do for your friend who was wanting to grade the cards? Like, it's kind of like on the tip of his mind. How did you like nudge him to do it?
I didn't, because I think like it's very risky to kind of like persuade someone to get into cards, because then you sort of have to shepherd them, and and it's just, people should get into cards because they 100% independently decide they want to do it. That's what I think. So I also think it's almost more persuasive to not try to convince somebody, but instead just be like, yeah, I have fun over here. This is cool. It's my thing. And, that's it. If you want to learn more about it, here's a couple of places you can go, but, maybe it's not for you. I think that's the best way to probably to advocate for the hobby in a one-on-one setting. But but what's the elevator pitch for the hobby? I have my like elevator pitch. Maybe it's a longer elevator ride. Maybe it's like a 50-floor elevator ride for my elevator pitch. Do you have an elevator pitch that sort of just would sum up if a news anchor said, do you have one?
Yours is going to be more succinct, I think, of like a more like readable, consumable piece, but it's just, it's kind of the combination of like being able to connect your passion of sports to something more tangible, and being able to like enjoy and be more engaged in the sports themselves, and then being able to like pick who you want to pick, right? Whereas like when I root for the Suns, I have to root for Booker and Chris Paul, but when I collect cards, I get to pick. It's like a fantasy draft of whoever I want, and I get to spend my money however I want. And then, I do think the investment financial side of it is like a bonus for me. I think it's a fun piece. It's like, hey, you can also actually like make money if you know sports and you know what you're doing and you know how to like make the right bets. So there's some dual like interest to it. That's not really an elevator pitch. It's kind of long, but kind of like munging all these topics that I enjoy.
It was a great munge. That my munge is similar. So the way that I pitch is two levels to it. The first level is that I love the hobby because it's just really fun. Great friendships are born from this hobby. When you share this interest with somebody else, it's so silly but serious. It's juvenile and childish, but it's also sophisticated and mature. It's the joy of the hunt. It's the social media component of sharing collections. It's really fun. That's the first prong of my pitch, is that the hobby it legitimately makes my life better being a part of it. And if it works that way for you, the juice is worth the squeeze. And then the second part of my pitch is that the hobby market is, in many ways, the perfect financial market, because the hobby is tied to day-to-day sports outcomes. So it's always in flux. Players' position in the history of sports the needle is always moving a little bit, and sometimes it's moving a lot. So take Giannis, for example. Giannis is on the precipice of winning his third MVP in 4 years. I'm not saying he's going to, but he is right there in the mix. If the Bucks finish the 1 seed, he could do it. If Giannis gets 3 MVPs in 4 years, he enters a group of only 8 players who have ever done that in NBA history before. And all of a sudden, we need to start thinking about Giannis as potentially a top 10 or a top 15 all-time player. Whereas in the most recent athletic list, he was 75th. That changes where Giannis ranks in the hobby. And it changes the excitement level about him and the history level about it. And so one modern player making one modern accomplishment has a ripple effect throughout the concentric circles of hobby and sports history. And when we start thinking about Giannis and where he ranks historically, we can't help but think about who's ahead of Giannis. And Hakeem Olajuwon is ahead of him in 12th, and Shaquille O'Neal in 10th, and Tim Duncan in 8th. And we get a new appreciation through modern players. We get a new appreciation of the all-time greats, and then that ripples throughout the hobby. And there's price adjustments that happen to reflect it. And then once those price adjustments happen, we then, go back to the modern, the new, the old. It's very fluid. The market is interrelated, and it's just constantly changing. And to me, that makes this a perfect market. This market will never stagnate. Now compare that to something like art, something like NFTs or digital collectibles, something like real estate. There is no catalyst that happens every day. History isn't changing. Legacies aren't constantly changing. They do change sometimes in art, and when artists come to the fore and things like that, but it's not nearly as energized or is infused with outcomes and tangible results that meaningfully, materially impact hierarchies and history and legacy. Sports cards uniquely have that. So, long elevator ride.
This elevator, I think, is stuck. You've actually formed this. This is a new kind of thing you formed in the last, I would say, month or so.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
This take, and I think you've obviously been forced to think about it. I mean, we were sort of happy-go-lucky for a while of collect our cards, we look at the prices, we enjoy it, but then this forced thought process around this has been thrust upon us with the can you make as much money in sports cards as you can in my thing? And so it's fine, motherfucker, you want me to get into the stats and show you that you can? Yes.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And even comparing it to stock market, there's another good pitch for sports cards surrounding how sports have become the focal point of pop culture, and business leaders who once were no longer are. That's a really good argument for cards too. But I really like this argument just because it's markets need energy. The stock market needs earning reports. All these different markets, they need the news to energize them. We have no shortage of news in sports cards. We have too much news. We can't keep up with it all. It's way too much news, right? We have a great problem there.
Dude, even on just James Harden, it's Harden's going to win the championship. In one game. He's a bum. Game. He can't handle the pressure again. He's now a playoff bum. And a week ago, he was the best pairing for Embiid ever and perfect setup. It's God, make up your minds,
Speaking of which, I wrote down 2 of the VeeFriend animals that were recommended. Greg, for James Harden. Greg says the playoff platypus would be a VeeFriend that he could use. And Collectors League said the sad snake.
Playoff platypus, shouldn't that be Paul George? He's
playoff P?
Yeah. Ooh.
I'm sorry.
Are these real? These real animals in the game or the thing?
No.
I don't think playoff.
No, I don't think so, no. I'm no expert on the taxonomy of VeeFriends, but I don't think so.
I would have just loved to have been there when he made all these up. He's just, sitting there dreaming away of all his favorite adjective animal combinations.
Yeah. Well, when Luber
they're verbs, right? They're verbs. It's like a sad, well, they're nouns. I don't know. I don't care anymore. I give up.
All right. Drake's PC says, consolidation by companies in the hobby was in vogue for a period of time last year, and it seemed to be the future. But recently, the hobby has seemingly become more fragmented, with more marketplaces to buy and sell cards than ever, with more vaults to store cards than ever before, etc. Do you see fragmentation as a good thing for the hobby, or is it a cause for concern?
Good thing for Card Ladder.
It is.
I don't think it's a cause for concern. I think it's more just like an annoyance. I mean, we're trying to solve this with the shop feature. Obviously, we're trying to like make it easier to not have to go to 20 places and stuff, because that is probably the most annoying part. Is like, what haven't I checked today? That's probably like the most annoying. I don't know. In the end, I think like the better companies will end up emerging anyways. Like, you know, the market will kind of play itself out, and the companies that aren't, you know, as strong with the marketplaces will just kind of go away over time. This is just kind of how, you know, capitalism works. Like, we just have to, if there's a demand, you know, companies are going to pop up, and then we'll see who survives. It is a little bit annoying at this current time. Are you finding it hard to keep up with all the auctions? Like, I sent you one last night. I'm like, dude, I got money here. Do you want to win? Like, here's another auction that you may not know about. Yeah.
Personally, no. I don't enjoy it. It's so much to keep track of. It's so many different logins to keep track of. Like, that's weird, but that's my sticking point. I hate logging in. I have complicated passwords. They're written down. I fucking hate logging in. I just don't want to log in. So that really actually, like, there's several auction houses that I haven't bid on in the last few months just because I don't want to log in.
I need to teach you about passwords.google.com. I can help you with this.
All right. Yeah, I need help. I need help badly because I'm just.
Do you use Google Chrome?
Yeah. Yeah, I do.
Yeah. Oh, dude, we can solve this. We can solve the password frustration. But if you are, you could. The other argument though of being frustrated with logins is like you don't really want all these companies having your personal information. So that's also valid.
That's a good one too. You know, you talk about like sort of demand capitalism. Dude, the demand seems to be most strongly coming from the business. Like the demand is that entrepreneurs have demand to build these companies. That's the demand.
You're right. You're
like,
right.
No, very few people are saying like, man, we could just use another marketplace that
Or vault
has a few cards on it, and I have to log in. And
yep, you're right.
I don't know if the demand is actually there, but you know, eBay has made stuff a little more difficult to buy cards on their platform because this authentication thing just adds another friction points to the process.
I had one this week. I can speak to it finally.
Yeah, sure.
It took about an extra 5 days, so it got to Florida, and then it was authenticated within a day or two, and then they shipped it really fast to the next stopping point in my shipping four-way shipping process locations. I have had to ship it a couple places, but they shipped it super quick from CSG to the next stop. It was like 1 day. So I don't know. It's like annoying, but it's not like horrible so far. I haven't gotten the actual item yet.
Okay. So it just added a little bump. Are you glad that it got authenticated?
Nope. No, it got more.
Doesn't that also deprive you of your ability to determine if it's authentic or not?
Well, right, and it's got extra meat hands on it that I don't want. There's like another person.
What's the difference between a meat hand and a hand?
A meat hand is someone touching something of yours that you don't want to touch, and you just like make them have meat hands because you just don't want them touching your thing.
Got it.
They're like usually like, you know, you make it up in your mind that the hands are like sweaty and, you know, reckless. So they're just meat hands.
Meat hands. KPB Cards says, "Are we in the junk vault era?"
Oh,
that's good.
I love that our chat just like takes things that they've learned over the years of the show and just sort of like made these little, you know, inside jokes about stuff. It's so good.
It's so good. And I always get a twinge of jealousy when all these great comments come in because I'm like, why didn't I think of that? Why is the chat smarter than the freaking host?
Like, we've come up with our own content quite a bit, but I feel like a lot of it is we get a funny joke like the respectfully from someone else or in the chat, and we just sort of like make it this long running joke, and then the chat just like fuels the fire. It's just like a really good back and forth.
So Drake also, I asked Drake personally, like, what did he think about this proliferation of marketplaces? And he said, as a buyer, he prefers fewer options. He's got limited time to his real job, due to his real job and his family. He likes to be able to check fewer sites. And he said, as a seller, it depends upon the type of card that he's looking to sell. But with anything, he feels like less is more. And we haven't really talked about the selling aspect of it, but it was glorious when like your options were, I could list it myself at auction on eBay, or I could send it to Probstein who would sell it on eBay, or I could send it to PWCC who would sell it on eBay. And then it just felt like it was a pretty level playing field. Like maybe one auction house had, an advantage at one point in time over the other one for whatever reason. Maybe, more efficient or better listings or clearer pictures or just more trust. But now everybody's all over the place, and there's authenticators in the way now. And and it's much harder. It's like the stakes are higher. If I send my card to the wrong independent platform, it could be a much costlier mistake. What do you think about that as a seller?
Yeah, and the funny part about, you alluded to it already, but like, who's asking for this? One, like, who's asking for another marketplace? Businesses are propping up their business because they want to make a business. They're not really caring about that. But the other thing is, like, we are asking for actual things to be solved for a marketplace, and not one of the marketplaces has like approached it head on to like intentionally solve the problem of like shilling, for example, more transparent bidding on who's paying for the item, et cetera, et cetera. Some of the marketplaces do a better job than others. We know that Golden does a nice job because we know that they're very, very strict on payment. They'll boot you from the system. So it's much harder to get through on a Golden or a Heritage. And you have to like prove like that you have the funds before you can create the account and get the max cap. So there's all these like different barriers that we know on the front end. Like, we've been asking eBay to help us with shilling, and instead they make a collection tool and a vault and a authentication. Like, no one asked for any of those three. We asked for like help with the shill bidding. So that's the frustrating part.
Fair. Okay, let's go into that vault. We had 3 questions on the vault. Oh, by the way, from BCTX in the chat, is it the truest form of a market when the buying format requires you to deposit money in advance and then you're automatically debited upon winning, or you have to have some deposit in advance, maybe 30% or 50% of what you bid? Is that the true? Is that approximating a truer market price? What would be some of the arguments for and against that?
Well, that's how like stock brokerages work. You have to like put the money into the brokerage account and then you decide what stocks to buy. So I think that's kind of the angle that Alt is trying to take, is they want to like they want to force it to be more similar to stocks by like playing by the stock rules of how you invest into it. Was it the question, is it the default? Not like a default marketplace. If you go to Amazon or eBay or any of those, you could just buy whatever you want and throw in your credit card. So that's definitely not the default. It's much harder to do things that way. And it feels more of a, like, the reason a lot of people don't invest in the stock market and they don't have 401ks, it is like kind of complicated. You have to like I said, you have to like know someone who can help you with a brokerage account. You have to upload your money. You have to like know someone that'll help you pick which stocks and which like target date on the 401k. Like, it's complicated, and it should be, in my opinion, a lot simpler. And the thing that is really easy to do is the consumer world of Amazon and eBay, where you just buy whatever you want and throw it on your credit card, and it's super easy. You don't even have to like get your credit card out. It's stored on your account. It's like, it takes 2 seconds. You can like buy stuff with your fingerprint now on Amazon. You can like swipe once and you don't even have to do that. It's just subscribe and save. It freaking like sends it to you like a robot sending it to you once a week. It's like, it's almost too easy, but I don't know. I'm just rambling.
I love that ramble. card agent says, or you could just tell us, like marketplaces could just tell us if something got paid. And then we would also know what the true market price was. I think that something has to be said too, from the point of view of history. The hobby and the auction houses, for as long as I've been around, and for much longer, and for periods predating me by many, many years, history has always played out in a particular way, which is the invoice model, which is you bid, you win, and then you get an invoice. And that's the fact that that's the way things have always been done. That's how we're familiar. That's what we're comfortable with. There's a real meaningful inertia to that makes it a very sticky process and makes anything other than that feel weird and uncomfortable. So, like, for example, the deposit method, it requires you to be very precise because you don't want to put more money on file than you need to, and then you have these transactions going back and forth to your bank account multiple times. So you need to have in your mind, this is how much I'm going to bid. I'm not going to bid more. I'm going to deposit just enough so that I can bid that much, and then that's what I'll bid. How many times, I'll tell you for myself, many times when I've been bidding on an auction, I've changed what my max bid is within the last 5 minutes. I've gone higher because we can be very conservative. We can be biased towards ourselves, thinking, I'm going to win this. I'm going to win this for low. This is the most I'm going to bid. I'm going to get it. And then you get to the last 5 minutes or so, and you say, oh, I actually want this item more than I thought. I'm increasing my bid by 25%. And I can't do that if I've deposited money, and the amount that I deposited is based on a premeditated bid. That's just, it's not conducive to the auction format. And stocks aren't sold in an auction format. So there's an incompatibility there that is like glaring. So to me, it's very limiting, and it's ahistorical. It's contrary to history and the way that our industry is developed to deviate from the invoice method and to go into a method of pre-depositing. So from my point of view, the solution here is to just be very clear and transparent using the invoice method to say, this got paid and this didn't. That solves all the problems. It stays true to history, and it lets, with transparency, it lets people know what got paid and what didn't.
Yep. That's a great point about the changing your bid. It's like, it's so true. And then it's like, oh, just the solution they'll give back to you is like, we'll just upload like way more than you'll ever need and just let it sit there for a long time. But it's like, but I'm losing money by keeping it in this like checking account that's not my checking account. It's just sitting here. I could be doing other things with it, like not uploading it into here.
Right. All right. Good.
That's not even getting into the security issues of like that company having access to your checking account and like keeping this active, sync up with your actual checking account. That's a little bit scary as well. So let's not forget about that.
Yeah, it is very scary. And the 3-to-1 method being discussed is like, I guess there's a marketplace out there where you only have to deposit 33%. You can bid 3 times what you've deposited. But that doesn't circumvent the problem, because if I want to bid $30,000, I say, I'm going to win this Michael Jordan card for $30,000. And that's what it's going to go for. That's my max bid. So then what do? I put in 10. I don't want to put in more than I have to put in. But I put in 10, and then the last minute or two, I decide I'm going to go up to 40 grand. I really want this card. There's a lot of bidding activity on this. I'm going to go. I can't do it. I can't. It's too late. My deposit is 10 grand, and I'm capped. So I don't think that solves the problem. I think the invoice method has a lot to recommend it, and going against it is a very bold move that flies in the face of history. So, and just by the way, I have gone on one of these other marketplaces and went to link my bank account, and I was immediately hit with a notice that said that company could see the balance of my bank accounts, and it could see the name that I associated to those bank accounts, which actually I stopped my registration right there. And I said, no, thanks. I'm a person who a few people in this hobby know. That's private information. It's a very dangerous invasion of privacy for me. So I need to make a new bank account, basically, just to participate in that marketplace, which I'm too lazy to do. All right,
More
Cards,
passwords, bro.
and it's another fucking password. All right. Cards and Candy 911 said, what are your thoughts on the new eBay Vault? Social Cardwork says eBay Vault. And Mike Pinkerton 50 says, I think eBay's new vault will create new opportunities. What do you think? Do you want me to read like a paragraph here of news about this? Kind of.
I mean, no, but you're going to.
I can refrain.
No, just make it short somehow. I just don't care about vault.
You knew I was going to. All right. This is from Sports Collectors Daily. Rich Mueller says, eBay plans to open vaults for cards, hints at fractional market, and live breaks. During Investor Day presentation, eBay said it will open a 31,000 square foot secure vault in the next few months. Collectors will be able to store their items in the vault, transfer from buyer to seller within a matter of seconds. Like other vault marketplaces, such as those at Gold and PWCC, the process is targeted at higher value inventory. It's part of a larger strategy by eBay that will include planned features like fractionalization and live commerce. Fractional shares markets for sports cards and other collectibles have risen in popularity through sites like Collectible and Rally. eBay's vast inventory could potentially put a very large number of items on such a platform. They expect that they will have up to $3 billion in assets within a few years, making it one of the largest stores of non-governmental assets in the world. They're also going to offer a digital wallets where customers can use proceeds from their sales to purchase their next item. Company says it has over 147 million buyers worldwide, and 28 million of those are considered high-value buyers. All right, let's talk about this vault. Are there new opportunities created by this vault? What do you think about this vault?
I mean, it's going to be the same as, these other, it's going to be the same as PWCC. It makes it interesting from the perspective of, like, if I have a bunch of stuff that I know I'm going to sell and I don't want it in my possession, I'm not collecting it, I just have it in my storefront and I want to sell it. That's a pretty interesting option for that seller, is to, like, put all that stuff in the vault, let them deal with it, and then when you're ready to actually sell it, you don't have to worry about shipping it individually. You don't have to ship each item one by one. You just kind of let the vault do its thing, and one less thing for you to have to worry about. So that's kind of an interesting part of it. They keep pushing that, though, and like everyone's pushing the vault as like this way to store your collection. That's the part I'm just I'm old school, I guess. I don't really get that part of it, but people would not want it in their homes, insurance reasons, fire hazard potential in the house relative to a vault. I get it. It's another option, I guess.
Do you see yourself using the vault?
I don't sell myself on eBay. I always use consigners, so I mean, I just send it all in one shipment anyways to the consigner, and they do it for me. So I probably won't use it personally, but if I had like a really nice eBay storefront and I ran like a fixed price best offer store out of eBay, I think it's a pretty solid option for that person.
Yeah. Will there be vaults inside of the vault? Because the 31,000 square foot vault is absolutely gigantic. Asked.
That's the. I was talking to a friend who's like thinking about getting into the collectible space, and he's more of a gamer, video game player, and so I was like, well, you should look into video games. Like the WATA sealed games are actually kind of neat. But I was like, and he's like, why don't you do that? I'm like, they're just too big, like. The reason I love cards is they're so small. So this freaking vault is 31,000 square. It sounds ginormous, but like, it's only storing cards. How many cards they can be storing? It's like 1 billion cards.
Well, WTF Frankie says ComC's vault is 35,000 square feet.
Oh, but that's a lot of base cards.
Yes.
A lot of raw cards. A lot of cards. This one's meant to be for high end, you said, right?
Not necessarily. It's just been they're expecting $3 billion in assets over a few years.
What's up with that figure?
That's a pretty PowerPointy figure.
Yeah, like what? You know how much is going to be stored in a product you haven't released yet? How does that work?
I don't know. Good question. There's definitely a land grab going on right now to own the customers and own how they buy and sell and trade cards. And dude, eBay is in my 5.5 years in the hobby, almost 6 years now, eBay has been very reluctant to do anything that would rock the boat or do anything big. And now just in the last few months, they've got this vault coming. They've got the digital wallet coming, and they introduced this authentication process. Like, that's big news. I'm not sure what exactly it means, but eBay making huge moves like that when in the 5.5 years prior, they hadn't done much of anything except get rid of PayPal, basically, is big news.
I know that we're getting all excited about Fanatics and about, you know, these different companies making these vaults and like these companies growing and then getting big valuations. eBay is fucking so much bigger than all these companies. It's like they have so much money to throw around on things like this. It's a little bit like all these other companies that are doing this kind of stuff are going to have to step up their game, because if eBay is getting in this space and eBay is making collection tools and eBay is like being very serious about these different aspects that are very directly related to cards, like they're putting resources on cards themselves. Yep. And they're not just treating cards as another category. Everyone's going to have to step their game up because eBay has a fuck ton of money.
Yeah, that's such a good take. eBay is the biggest fish to jump into the vault pool or the vault ocean. My metaphor is fucked. But this is huge, that a company with a market cap of like 50 billion or so, or 60 billion. Now Fanatics has an implied valuation of 27 billion. So Fanatics is getting there. But yeah, eBay is in its own class still. And also, while we're on the topic, and maybe eBay, maybe somebody will show this to eBay or somebody works at eBay. eBay, here's what we'd love to see as a community. Could you please let us know which items are paid for and which ones aren't? Just throw a line of code in there. I don't know how to do that, but just throw a line of code in there and just look. If I'm browsing sold and completed, if an item is paid, make it a dark green, and if it's unpaid, make it a light green. That's it. Just if you could do that for us as a community, like, we'd be so thrilled. We'd be absolutely thrilled. So you're paying attention to us. You care about us. You want to win us over as customers. Few things will increase the community's confidence in you than that.
Dude, I posted a couple cards on eBay because I haven't done that in a really long time. I got a lot of offers on stuff. I got eyeballs on it that I wouldn't have gotten if I posted myself on Instagram, if I had sent it to, you know, like, you can say what you want about eBay, but they'll get you eyeballs and get you off. Oh, I can't believe I said I got a lot of offers. I hate that I said that. I got so many messages about just forget that I said that. It was to prove a point that eBay is a massive platform with a lot of eyeballs. That's what they're known for. That's why you go to eBay, is like, there's people that will message me that like don't have Instagram, that have never heard of PWCC. They just know eBay. There's a large group of people that just only interact with eBay, and we only hear about the loud people posting, the influencers, the stuff we see, but there's a large group of people in this hobby that don't talk about anything. They don't make a big fuss. They don't try to pump and dump and tell us what they're investing in next, what's the next PMG, this and that. They just go on eBay, they buy their cards, and then when they're ready to sell, they sell it on eBay. There's a ton of people that do that.
Yep. Yeah, dude. eBay is a nice option to have, and it matters to the sports card world. It really, really does. Stacking Gems says, what is the next card show that you're headed to?
Let's let Christina answer this one.
Christina, what's the next card show? Christina's playing with her Maxi PC.
She's looking at me.
There was Maxi Pink Ices, so I wanted you to show. There are. JR.
Ooh, that's cool.
Yeah, because he was making fun of me for having Luca Pink Ice as my avatar for Instagram. The next card show that the three of us will be attending is at the end of this month, and we will be at Mint Collective.
The Mint Collective. The Mint Collective, indeed, is the next show we'll be at, and many people will be at the Mint Collective. It should be a very interesting show with an approach and a production level that is rarely, if ever, seen in our hobby.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Am I going to get to meet Peyton Manning?
he's announced his being there, right?
I just really want to yell Omaha in his face.
Omaha.
I think it.
Green 18.
That's Rogers.
I know.
Josh.
That's the only one I know, though.
If you yell Omaha in his face, like, you might not be able to attend the rest of Mint at that point. Like, just so you're aware.
It would be worth it.
Okay.
But that would.
Just make
Omaha. He's like, what the fuck?
around for it so we can get it on camera.
I know how Chris like does not like even the opposite of what I'm about to say. Like how you do not get awestruck, by the famous people. Like in fact, you're like, God, why is he here? And I have to look at that giant head. And would you wax that thing this morning, Peyton? Can you just like save us the blinding? You're like rude to him. He like gets in your way and you're like, excuse me, God, I'm trying to get to my spot, Peyton.
Yeah.
No, I don't want to have dinner with you, Peyton Manning. Would you just leave me alone?
It's literally what Chris would say. He'd be like, why would I want to have dinner with you?
I mean, it's funny you bring that up because I was doing some research on Peyton Manning, some of his nicknames, and one of his nicknames. Well, do you know what his nicknames are?
Yeah, like the sheriff, right? Isn't that one?
The sheriff is one. Do you know what the other one is?
Yeah.
No.
What is it, Christina?
Well, I looked at your screen, so it doesn't count.
His other nickname is the Caveman. The Caveman. Because of, I think, the large forehead.
Oh.
So, little piece of trivia.
He has the best commercials, by the way. I think he's the funniest. Yeah, I'll say it. He's the funniest athlete there is.
He's good. He's good. But he's also serious. Did you like the Manning cast? Was that for you? It's
not for me. Well, I guess like the first half it is, and then the second half I kind of want to watch the game, and like it's a little bit distracting because they are so funny and engaging that it's like they're almost like too good. They like take away from the actual game. But I think it's great that they made it a separate channel. I think that's genius, right? Like if you want to get that part of it, you can go over to ESPN2, and if you want to watch the game, you go over to ESPN. I think it's great. Yeah, it wasn't for me either, but I'm glad it was there. I gave it a few tries, but I just want to watch the game. It maybe it would have been even better if it was just a podcast that came out an hour before the game or something, or a little show with interviews. I'm with Nick. I don't like the guests. I just want the Manning brothers. Like, I don't care about The Rock talking about his movie during a football game. Like, I just want the Manning brothers. If you're gonna do that, dude, we have to shill for products at every chance we get. My favorite is when like the guest starts trying to shill for their product, and like Peyton and Eli both like move their heads as if they're standing in front of them, between them and the game, and they'll just stare at the game, and like the guest keeps talking, and then they'll like scream or like do something, and it's just obvious they don't want to talk to them either. I think man, this is like a total shill job for us, but I feel like we're similar to the Manning brothers in that like we're the same way. We don't just like blindly. We don't just like blindly shill for anybody. Like we know what we like, and we want to watch the game. Like we're more interested in the game. But that's probably where the comparison ends. Yeah. I mean, from my point of view, watching the games, Peyton and Eli they're good. The guests are a problem. I guess now Monday night is going to be Joe Buck and Troy Aikman, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. They just got paid, so here's what we can expect to look forward to on Monday night announcing when Joe Buck and Troy Aikman take the booth. This there's a live look at a preview of Joe Buck and Troy Aikman calling Monday night games. I can't believe that we don't agree on this, but we don't. I actually like Troy Buck. I actually like those guys. I do not like them. I'm softer on Collinsworth than you, and you're softer on Joe Buck and Troy Aikman than me. I rage on Collinsworth. He makes me so angry. He before he even talks, I'm mad at him. It's like he can't even do anything right for me anymore. Respectfully. Yeah, I mean, in terms of actually trying to announce the game, I do have a live look at Peyton and Eli as well. Peyton
and Eli.
Those are more like recycle bins. Like they're a little bit classier.
They're a little classier. They're different sizes because those guys. This is 4 head sizes only. There's Peyton and Eli together again. So who's Peyton and who's Eli between the two of us?
Oh, well.
How about this? Which one do you want to be? Do you want to be Eli or do you want to be Peyton?
I want to be Eli. Eli's like a little bit snarkier and like a little bit more laid back.
He's hilarious. Eli is hilarious on Monday. I gained such an appreciation for him when he was just snipping at Kevin Hart. He had some size jokes ready for Kevin Hart, and he's really good.
He's like, he's like quiet, a little bit reserved, and all of a sudden he hits you with like the bites, like the snarky bites, and you're like, whoa, where'd that come from? I prefer that style. But Peyton's hilarious too.
Peyton's good. Peyton's just more of the straight man, and Eli is the Eli brings the color. All right.
I think Peyton's on top in the broadcast, and Eli's on the bottom. So if you want to just go for that.
No, the great Tom Brady collection says Eli Manning has more rings than Mahomes.
I actually love when that's something Eli would say. It's just like very direct, and it's like, yeah, fight me on that. I'm not wrong. It's just a fact. Like 2 is more than 1, correct?
Last time I checked.
I think he has more than Breeze. I think he has more than Mahomes. I think he has the same amount as his brother Peyton. I think he has more than Rodgers. I think he has more than. It's good stuff.
Yep. All right. Sports Card Stallion says, what is the second best card show? Assuming that the National is the first best. What do you think is the second best card show?
I mean, it kind of feels like it's becoming Dallas, right? Like it's just it's becoming consistent. It's got a big following at this point. I don't know. I don't go to a lot of shows. It's hard for me to like. I think I've been to only Dallas National, and that's it, right? I don't even think I've been to another one.
How about the Chicago Spectacular?
I've been to that once. That one was fun. I kind of like the smaller shows. Like the medium size where it's not the National. So I appreciate that as well. But nothing beats the National.
Can you tell the story when you were at the Chicago Spectacular of how like you like rolled dice or something to like decide who? No. All right.
I can. I mean, that's just Kantz. That was Mike Kantz. MC Sports Card.
It's funny because like you don't really see stuff like that happen all the time, but I think it's a funny story for like how you settle that dispute over the price.
The card was like valued at like $8,000, and I was trading stuff to him, and I had to add a little bit of cash to get to the value. And this was back when like 8,000 was like, oh my god, what the people are like crowding around or whatever. And we were off by like $200. We like were at a sticking point of like $200. He's like, let's just roll for it. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Shouldn't we just meet in the middle and do 100 each or whatever? He's like, no, let's roll for it. Whoever rolls the higher number, gets their price, the value. And I beat him on the roll, and that was that.
That's great. That's fun, man. Those are the good old days.
I miss those times. I know it's like, it's kind of cliche to say you miss the old days, but like it was fun back then. Yeah, totally. Will Team Card Ladder be at the National? Of course.
Of course we will. But shout out to the question asker. So we have the Mint Collective at the end of this month. Then we have the National over the summer. Christina and I might sneak away and go to the Chicago Spectacular this weekend as well for a day.
It's a good show.
We are?
We might, yeah.
This is news to me.
Justin and Josh invited us to lunch, Josh Adams, on Friday.
Okay.
And we'll be sitting, so it will be
on
far
Friday?
less annoying to talk to Justin.
Friday as in today?
Yeah, a week from today.
Oh, okay. When you said this weekend, I thought you meant like tomorrow. That's why it was news to me. But also, there's a show at Mohegan in June.
Oh, right.
That we're considering going to.
Yeah. Yep. There's lots of shows. There's
Rob invited us to.
The sports card therapist invited us to.
Yeah.
And then there's also Dallas in May. So
we should do another Dallas one. Dallas it was a fun show.
Yeah, Dallas
Dallas
is great.
was a fun trip last year. And then Dallas is also in September.
Investicard Eddie says Dallas is the true sports card marketplace show.
I can't really argue that, you know?
No, I know.
It's been like it's almost like the pulse of the, like he's saying, like it's like the pulse of like where the market's moving. It's like, it was the trendsetter on the whole like GOAT thing for a while, right? It like popped off there, and then it was like the Kobe thing, and I think it was like the trendsetter on the Durant market for a while. It's a thing, man.
And then so then Dallas is also in September, and then October is the Beckett Industry Summit card show and then conference, and then
The Burbank card show in August.
That's in August.
Flyer just came out for that.
Yeah.
That's in LA.
And then you end the year
This is a lot of
in
shows.
Dallas in November.
This is a lot
It's a
of shows.
full-time job. Just
How do you
going
know
to
the
shows.
Dallas card show schedule?
Because they sent it to me, asking us if we wanted to attend.
Oh, how nice of them.
That was nice. I thought we were banned, so it was nice that they told us that we could attend now.
It's an attempted ban. It's not a real ban.
It's not a real band.
Oh, okay.
It was a pseudo band.
Oh.
All right.
Shun. Unshun. Reshun.
All right, Dwight.
I love that. That's like such a great little bit on that show. It's so funny.
Is it the junk show era?
I was going to ask that when Christina was naming the shows. I'm like, are we in the junk show era?
little bit of junk show era, perhaps.
But none of them are junky. They're all like good shows, so it's kind of hard to like put that label on it. You know, it's more of like, is it the oversupply show era?
And then we haven't heard, but like, is there going to be another Dell show? Because that was fun. That
the Dell
Grant
show
was
is
putting
fun.
on.
Great venue.
Amazing show. Like, I really enjoyed that.
Super legit venue.
Awesome people. So,
What are we looking at?
yeah.
Were you trying to show us something there?
No,
Oh,
I'm
you
just
just
like,
adjusting. You showed a trash can, so I didn't want to miss the joke.
you dude, look at that, you nailed it. Oh my gosh, you just opened up a whole new world for me.
Josh, can
Because I don't have my laptop with me, and you get all the funny jokes of the live look. Now I can be like, live look.
just
Yes.
put the trash can over the shoulder now.
Did you notice though, Chris? Give me a little bit of some points here. I got the light in the back, so the visuals are a little better tonight.
Excellent lighting, noted and appreciated. Stiff Arm Wax is getting a kick out of that for sure. The shows though, the one thing that's interesting about the shows, they've become sort of conferencey or trade showy, where like it's a lot of people who are doing startup businesses or who run businesses that are active in the hobby. It's a lot of, polo shirts with company logos right here, or hoodies with a company logo, and it's a lot of that, right? Let's go.
I had bullpen on today. Sorry.
Christina is wearing a different hobby company shirt, so that's the one thing. It's like it gets a little trade showy, and as I was talking to Stacking Slabs, he gave me this great line. Hobby influencers are not a draw. Dope cards are. All right?
Dude, let's go.
Right. So, and like, let's not forget that. Like, nobody's going to these shows to talk to YouTube personalities in the hobby. We look at YouTube personalities in the hobby because they make content about cards. But when we go to the show, we're there for the cards. We're cutting out the middleman, which is the content creator.
Yeah, there's been this, we've experienced it where like people think that their podcasts are going to blow up by inviting a specific influencer onto their show, and then that'll be the catalyst that's needed to get their show going. And it's like, no, that's not how it works. It's the content that you provide. I come to watch your show for your content. You make good content, I will watch your show. You have dope cards, you interview genuine people that make it interesting, and you relay the message that you're trying to relay in the theme of your show or whatever, and you stay consistent. That's what keeps people coming back to your show, not like, oh, that person finally got an interview with so-and-so. Now I can watch every episode they've ever had. That's not how that works.
Especially when that person buys views, so you're not even gonna
Christina can't even be bothered to like turn around on that when she's like yelling into her computer screen. All right, Stacking Slabs says, speaking of Stacking Slabs, oh, by the way, C. Keat says Cardboard Chronicles still is it's good today as it was when it came out. Yes, it was. And I was on episode 27. I went and I looked when we were talking to Cage and Andrew today.
At 14, bro, you thought you were special?
I thought I was so early.
That's okay, because someone hasn't even been on one.
I thought I was so early to the Cardboard.
It did feel like it. I thought it was early too. I was with you. I thought you were one of the early ones, but
yeah. Well, and then it's funny to like look at like a screenshot of the interview actually from back then. This is my appearance on Cardboard Chronicles. This was me talking about the market. This was the thumbnail to the video. Actually.
So I'm also a trash can? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm double trash. The two cards that were on the show that like
when was the last time you watched that episode?
Years. And probably like the day after it came out.
You want a really funny take on that specific episode? You know how everyone is like freaking out about these pop culture cards and like, like so-and-so matter, like Jay-Z cards matter because Jay-Z is so popular. Well, if you think that Chris and I are popular, you should go invest in the NFT of that very first episode. That's our rookie card.
That's our rookie card. Let's go.
That's our rookie card.
Yamwax is minting it as we speak.
You should. That first episode, people should be flocking to go watch that episode as the very first incarnation of the two of us making content together.
Yeah, dude. Dude, just going on that show gave me the confidence to make a podcast. So a lot of things were set into motion off of that show. All right. Speaking of stats,
people realize that you talk for a really long time on that show. There's so many things that came out of it.
I feel very cringy if I were to go. I don't even want to watch it.
You're like, hold on, I'm turning my notebook over to page 12. I got more to say.
I still have the notes. Some things.
I want to go watch it now. I gotta go throw it up on my headset and just like listen.
Oh, I do not care to watch it. All right. Stacking Slab says rank the most egregious to the least egregious.
You want to hear something hilarious? I'm looking at this video now. It was filmed with you here.
Hilarious.
Sorry.
Yeah, because you were home for Christmas.
Yep. No, I know. I remember that video. Thank you, Christina, for interrupting the question.
You're welcome.
To point that out.
And I love this question you're about to ask, by the way, so let's go.
Yes, I love this question. Can I get to anything else, Christina? Okay, let's get to the question. Stacking Slabs says rank from most egregious to least egregious. Should we get a live look at Christina on tonight?
I didn't say that. You did. No.
All right.
All right. Stacking Slabs says rank the most egregious to least egregious. Interrupting people when they're asking. No. Rank the most egregious to least. 1, the prices of unworn cards that National Treasures fetches. 2, the idea that we are the idiots for not jumping onto NFTs when we are here just for the fucking cards. Or 3, the hobby influencer who actually refers to himself as a hobby influencer. Rank those.
Least to most.
No. From most egregious to least. Worst to best.
The NFT one, then the influencer one, then the unworn game thing.
I think so too. All right. Thank you, Brett. Hilarious question.
It's a funny question. Oh, good job, Brett.
Good question. Dillick cards. Oh, I like this question. Get ready, Christina. If the three of you could take one card from each other's collection, which card would it be and why? And for the purposes of this, because Christina and I collect everything together, obviously. Our
Luca for you, Jordan for you.
Yeah. So give me Jordan and McCaffrey, because I know you might want to pick a McCaffrey.
Luca.
Give her Luca and Maxey.
Yeah.
And the others, because like we have LeBron cards, we have other stuff too, and then you are by yourself. It's just your collection. So I already know what card I'm plucking from you.
You have to pluck from her too. It's a triangle.
Right,
you have to pluck
I
two.
know what I'd pluck from her as well.
There you go. So go ahead, pluck the two.
This might not be like the best value pluck because your limited logos might be more valuable. I'm not quite sure, but I'm taking the Topps Chrome Gold LeBron rookie pluck, and the finest is up there for me too. But I'm taking that Topps Chrome Gold. That's so iconic. That's the one I want. All right, All right, now Josh.
Oh, no. You got one more to pluck, bruh.
And from Christina. And from Christina, I plucked the Prism Gold, Luca.
There you go.
So easy. And now I'm just gold everywhere. All right, now you go.
All right. This one's so easy. This will take 5 seconds. The 98 Rubies, Jordan.
Wow. See? Okay, but just over the PMG red. That's really good. Okay. All right, pluck.
Yeah, I love that Rubies card.
Okay. Pluck. Fair enough.
This is like those, what are those, like, claw games where you just, like,
Yeah.
And then the Prism Gold, Luca. I love that card.
The Prism Gold.
I'm pretty sure that when you guys were here...
I'm taking the red MJ and the green Penny because I hate you both and I want you to cry.
Oh, that's such a good take.
And because she loves Christmas and the red and the green. Is that right?
Plus, they're beautiful cards. Like, yeah.
When you guys were here, I'm pretty sure that I, like, held the Rubies and the Luca Prism Gold side by side, and I was like, these are my favorites.
Yep, I do think that happened. Damn, how long ago was that?
And I held the red and the green side by side, and I was like, look, they're the same card, except one's Penny and one's MJ background.
Yeah, the poses are the same.
Yeah.
I loved when Jean explained that. She's like, yeah, we paired them up. It was to, like, make the card process more efficient. We had 2 for every pose. I was like, oh, that's so amazing.
It is amazing. Gene from Arena is awesome. Okay. Mikey the Breaker says, if you could travel back in time to 2017, money aside, what's one thing you would do differently? So you can't spend more money. You can't do that.
Oh.
So putting that to the side, what's one thing you would do differently?
Question, though. Could you spend your money differently?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I guess, yeah.
Same amount, 2 different things.
But that's just a little bit boring because then you just say, I would just buy the cards that perform the best. You know?
Yeah, no, it's like...
getting at something else.
Is it getting at, like, I would spend more of the money that I have?
No, I think the question is saying, like, obviously we would have put every spare dollar into cards and bought the ones that we know 4 or 5 years later are, you know, appreciate the most. We would have done.
I would have,
like, putting that to the side, you know.
I would have tripled down on, like, the whole rarity concept that we obsess over today, and I just, like, would never even messed around with any of the, you know, like, I think I had owned, like, a regular Topps Chrome Refractor LeBron, and I had owned, like, the SPA Authentic. I wouldn't have messed around with any of that stuff, and I just would have just been balls to the wall. I'm like, it's got to be super rare, and this is my only chance to get it, knowing that, you know, it would have been easier to have that runway of 4 years to 5 years to be able to, like, focus on that one specific goal.
Yeah. Beantown Joe in the chat says, invent card ladder.
No, card ladder had to be in card ladder's time.
Yeah.
It would have been.
What about you? What's your answer?
I'm terrible at these questions. I'm not a person who, like, I would have gone back and done this differently. I just, I'm happy with the way things unfolded. I'm happy to where I got now. I know that the place I am at now is a result of the decisions and choices that I made. So, nothing.
I'm laughing at Nick in the comments.
Yes, I would enter, like, you know, there's that, would you shoot Hitler in the head? If
right.
Baby Hitler, would you kill Baby Hitler? Would you go back and prevent NFTs from ever?
I would have, you know what I would have done? I would have uninstalled MS Paint from a bunch of people's computers, and then we would never have.
Don't uninstall it from Chris's because he still uses it.
I do still use Microsoft Paint. Yes, I still do use Microsoft Paint. All right. Upstate Sports Card says, oh, this is a fun question. I never even... Okay. What would a sealed, legitimate case of 1952 Topps sell for on auction? And I have an answer, but I just wonder if you...
Dude, you missed that. You missed the most important part of that question, or your response. You said you found a sale from like 2004.
I did. I sure did. I found a sale. Shout out Putnam Cards. By the way, trigger alert. trigger alert for our hybrid NFT digital collectibles and sports card bros out there. All right. I did find a sale of the 52 box, not case, but box. And it was with Leland's. It sold in 2004. All right. 18 years ago. 18 years ago. That's like generations in the hobby ago. 18 years ago, it sold for $167,000. One box. $167,000. 18 years ago. Back when PMG red and green, PMG green Jordans were 10 grand or less.
Why is that box not? Because we see 86 Fleer boxes sell all the time, and obviously 52 is like way older than 86. But why don't we see any of those? Is there? I don't know the history enough to be able to answer this.
Me neither. I guess because Cy Berger dumped them all into the ocean. The legend goes.
River. Oh my God. You and New York. New York is on rivers.
Because there was like a lot of, wasn't there like quite a bit of that stuff produced? Like it wasn't rare.
No,
right?
It wasn't rare. It was, but a lot of it got dumped into the ocean of New York, also known as the Hudson River. And so the projected value today of that box using Card Ladder's high-end index to model its growth is $5 million. So
I love how like much I trust that.
Dude, isn't that decent? Because like that's about what a PSA 8.5 maybe if that card would go for. And that's probably the best grade you could hope for of a mantle coming out of that box. 52 Topps mantle is like an 8.5.
How many mantles are in a box? Do we know?
I don't know.
Because it like, vintage, you usually basically get like every card kind of thing, right?
Yeah. And there's also reason to think that box would have outpaced the high-end index too. Like maybe the answer is 10 million, maybe it's 20 million. Like if there's like 10 mantles in there. I don't know. We don't know
That's
enough
cool.
about 52 Topps collation.
The point of that confidence is like 5 million. Or, like it's a great starting point. We now can keep going in the conversation.
Yep, I agree. This makes me want to actually go look at Leland's listing of this box because this is interesting, right? Like maybe we can teach ourselves and our great audience a thing or two. All right, let me just So it actually went for $167,000. And
dude, that's money in 2004. Can you like wrap your mind around that?
That's so much money. All right, so the listing is a complete 1952 Topps baseball 5-cent wax box with 24 packs, and then there's like a picture of the box here. 24 packs, complete 1952 Topps. It sold for $166,850. Oh my God, the lot description is oh my God. Yeah. So look, let's just read a few sentences. This is an actual complete unopened box of 52 Topps packs that came from the original confectionaire in Ontario, Canada. Given to him directly by an executive of Topps, the confectionaire gifted it to his son as the ultimate prize. Better than any Red Ryder Daisy rifle. Inside these wax packs lies the first truly great modern baseball card set, the brainchild of Topps' Cy Berger, Woody Gelman, and the rest of their team. This is the one that defined an industry. On and on and on.
People are asking what series. Apparently there's like different series releases, and Mantle is harder or easier to get depending on the series. Does it say anything? Search for the Command F series.
Control F.
Oh, God damn it.
Oh, here we go.
Windows.
But the fact that these cards were from the high and semi-high 5th and 6th series provides a potential bonanza for what is inside.
Yeah, people are saying that if it's a higher series, you're probably not going to get Mantle in the chat. So just going on what the chat says. They said it's early series, and I guess Mantle's like a higher number, younger player, so it's a little bit harder to get. Mantle is 6th series in the chat. I don't know.
Interesting.
I don't even know what series is. Is that like a Topps thing, like where they're doing series 1 and 2, like in the late 90s kind of thing?
I have no idea. We have much to learn. Mantle is 6th series, says Bob Leto in the chat. And so the description goes on to say that the packs are graded. And the way that they graded was 18 packs were graded GAI, excellent to mint 6.
So I was wrong. They're saying Mantle's in the high series numbers.
Okay, so yeah, okay. And then the other packs were graded GAI 5.5. So the packs were all graded 6 and 5.5s.
Let's give a shout out to Venezuelan League Stickers. They do series 1, 2, and update nowadays. And he's saying the higher series is where Mantle is. That's interesting. Dude, there's another universe where I collect vintage cards because it's just like so fascinating to me.
The history is pretty neat. Let's say somehow this box was passed down to you. This box, well, and it's a complete box, but all the packs are graded. So, but let's say this box was passed down to you. Would you open them, or would you keep them as is?
I mean, first I would probably go find some vintage people to help me and help me learn about everything about it. And I don't want an auction house to teach me, by the way. I want someone who's going to tell me about the set and the series and the risks of opening it, et cetera, et cetera. I probably wouldn't open it. I kind of like there's just not a lot of sealed vintage, or it's not sealed, because they didn't seal it back then, but there's just not a lot of unopened vintage wax. I think I would leave it.
There was only one box to sell in Card Ladder sales history, and it's these 24 packs that were put together, and Providence-wise apparently all came from the same box.
You'd probably be getting a lot of people beating down your door. If you opened it, that kind of ends that. You don't have to worry about anyone annoying you, but it would be kind of fun to own the only unopened
Maybe
box.
You should open just one pack to make sure there are not G.I. Joe cards inside.
Nice.
We all got duped. Agreed?
Agreed.
Nicholas Ledner says, please discuss crossing BGS 9.5s to PSA 10s.
You're not going to have much luck doing the crossover service. You have much better luck cracking. That's my experience. When I crack, I have pretty decent odds. I'd say 50-50. And when I do a crossover, I have really, really poor odds, 1 out of 10, if that. And so I don't know if there's much more to talk about it from that. You're probably just thinking don't do it. Leave it 9.5. I like PSA 9s as much as I do BGS 9.5, so the risk is worth it to me.
There you go. And look, because people are thinking about that, and I think you spoke to the heart of the answer, which is just how do you do it? Do you crack, or do you send for a graded card review? And I guess I'm not sure if you mentioned this in your answer, but definitely really inspect the card as well, right? And make sure that it is a true gem mint copy, or because there's a chance that Beckett overgraded the card. There's a chance they undergraded the card, so just examine it well. By the way, Mikey the Breaker says, not even the most historic box could cause Josh to rip. Josh does not like to open product.
No, it doesn't. No. Well, I mean, just this is a different thing. It's a historic box. I have to be more mindful of what I'm doing. I can't just rip it and not think about it.
Yeah. Would you open a VeeFriends box?
No, I would flip the shit out of that thing. I'd buy cards that I really want to own with the profits.
Okay. All right.
What am I gonna do? Open it and just start giggling? Like what?
Where do we go from there? All right. Mostly 90s basketball card says, which do you prefer for the early refractors? Option 1, buy a non-green copy and hope it never goes green. 2, buy a green copy at a discount. 3, avoid altogether.
Definitely nothing about 2. I want no part of 2. I'm probably gonna go for 3, honestly. Like I just kind of avoid it, but 1's not a bad option.
Same. I do have one card that in the collection that does go green, or some copies have. Some copies are green. Let's not. Yeah. Some copies are green. So, but you know, I went with option 1. I saw an amazing copy, and I picked it up, and you know what? Knock on wood, it's been 4 years, over 4 years of owning that card, and it hasn't gone green.
Didn't Jean address this on Jeremy's show? That it's like part of the plastic she thinks is like the oxidized, like in the like. Sorry, our guest is texting me.
Oh.
Here's my anecdote.
Is he mad about what we just said?
Here's my anecdote. I've never seen a picture of a card that wasn't green that became green. Take that for whatever you would like.
Yep. I know. It's there was an episode of the Wax Museum podcast that talked about this too.
Hold on. Our guest is getting ready, so finish up this conversation.
All right. We finish up that conversation. Well, here, this is a perfect this all right. Do you know Bank of Rick? Do you know Rick? Do you know him by chance?
I do. Yep. Jordan Collector. Yep.
Yep. Bank of Rick wrote in and asked us to discuss the dentist Illuminati conspiracy.
Oh, I think I remember this.
There are a lot of dentists in our hobby. I think about group chats that you're in. Can you there's a dentist in every group chat.
Yeah,
there's a dentist in every group chat. They've been strategically planted there.
MK Sports Cards is not a dentist, but I'm gonna just bulk him into that. He's always at the hospital's work.
Don't do that. Michael will not appreciate that even remotely to be lumped in with the dentist.
I've earned so many points with him recently, and I just threw them all away. I threw them into the river. Yeah. No, it's a funny observation.
It's just true. It's just the dentists are out and about. If you scroll through your group chat, like in Instagram, you can push and you can see who are the members of this chat. You will see this, the dentist. There will be a dentist in the chat. Dentists have a lot of influence in this hobby. They have a lot of money too. How do they get all that money? What?
Dude.
Dentistry.
Yeah, dentists make bank, especially if you're orthodontist.
I feel like there's something to this where, like, the person who seeks out to become a dentist is doing so because it's like a straightforward path towards, like, strong financial gain. So maybe they're thinking, like, the dentist also is smart enough to approach the card industry in the same manner of, like, oh, this is a very smart way to enjoy my time and also make money.
All right. According to U.S. News, how much does a dentist make?
No clue.
Dentist is the 11th best paying job.
Show me.
Dentists in 2020 made a median salary of $158,000.
That's a lot of money.
The best paid 25% made $208,000, and the lowest paid 25% made $115,000. So,
does every dentist drive a Mercedes-Benz?
I guess so. And maybe there's a lot of kickbacks for dentists or something, where dentists just...
You got a request.
I did.
We did it. What's up?
What's up?
Josh, how was the decision for you whether to go to dental school or law school? Was that a tough decision?
So I had a friend growing up from the time we were really, really young. I mean, I don't know, 10. He was very proud of understanding that becoming a dentist was the option for the laziest possible way to play golf the most part of his life.
See? I told you, it's like a thoughtful person. Yeah.
And he did it. And he's a dentist, and he plays golf like 4 days a week, and he makes a very nice living. And there's zero chance he's watching this, but like he was definitely always like the least motivated of all of us. Like did the worst in school, but he was like, "I'm gonna be a dentist," and he did. Like absolutely.
Does he collect cards, Josh? Does he collect cards? We need to know.
No, but I feel like now is probably a good time to go out and try to sell him some like base cards and stuff. Yeah.
Let's actually trick him into thinking base cards are the thing.
Uh-huh.
Base cards are the laziest way to make money this time. No. All right. Good. Josh, first of all, congrats on the release of zerocool's first product, zerocool Card's first product, the VeeFriends product. And also, congrats on living the dream. I think it's a dream of a lot of people to make a trading card product. And people, think about this and how they would do it. And so, first of all, tell me, dude, what was it like constructing this product, deciding what the checklist looked like, what goes into it, how should it be numbered, how many what you wrote a manifesto about this. So how did you figure out how to build this product?
Well, first of all, I should let me just first apologize for this awkward setup. It looks like I have a normal setup, but in a hotel room. I just put my kids to sleep. We're at Disney. I'm about to spend a week at Disney World with my kids who are 9 and about to be 7.
Nice.
So I have just anxiety in my heart. I've had it for 2 months since we started planning this trip. And this is the last call, interview, whatever I'm going to do for the next week. But apparently you can't get on Instagram on your computer. So I don't have, at my house, I have a nice stand. I have my phone clips on there. I don't have any of this. So right now my phone is sitting in a coffee mug, and it's just the top of it is so I can see Chris. I have to go like this to see Josh and look down at the coffee mug. So
I'll be up at the top.
Come up a little higher, Josh.
Right,
Yeah,
but you can see me, which is really all that matters. So anyway, so if I'm doing this the whole time to see what Josh is saying or doing.
Right.
Anyway, what's really super interesting about that question is that it is something that I've always thought about. And then we happen to do the first set with Gary and VeeFriends, and we can talk more about why. But that we're actually quite constrained because the checklist was the VeeFriends characters, and even the parallel structure, we mimicked the parallel structure in VeeFriends. So that part was pretty straightforward. The question was really about how many we were going to make, how we were going to add some chase elements, how many were going to be autographed, how many were going to be hand-drawn, but also knowing that we had a target max, which was 1,000 boxes. And like from the very beginning, like that just number felt like, flawless National Treasure style, 1 pack, 10 cards, 1,000 boxes. Like we wanted to keep it very limited. So we then backed into, based on the number of VeeFriends there are, the number of base cards there need to be, the parallel structure. And so it was probably way more, constrained than you might have in some, and by the way, in a lot of these other products that we're already in the middle building, tremendously more freedom and creativity to do some more fun stuff.
Let me ask a follow-up here, and then I'll let Josh give a few in. But was it difficult to convince Gary to do this? And here's why I ask. Because I was watching Gary and Card Collector 2 open a box of this at Gary's office in New York. And Gary was like, that card community, man, he was like, they're cynical guys. It's cool to be cynical in the hobby. It's just cool. And, obviously people have been hard on Gary in our hobby. But people love him too. People absolutely will ride or die for Gary. But also people have, given him a lot of flack. Was it difficult to convince Gary, hey, let's build this trading card product, even though you've seen so much success in the VeeFriends project, let's bring this to the physical world? Was that a tough sell?
So I think that's a really good insight into what his point of view might be about the hobby, given particularly I feel like some of the hate that he's seen since he's been so into NFTs in the last year. But the short answer is no, not at all, and that's because if you know Gary, like, he's the real deal. Like, he happens to be a very bombastic speaker, but he is as genuine as anyone and as loyal as anyone. And I've known Gary since before I started StockX, and so he had always had an idea that he was going to do a trading card set for VeeFriends. And the second he launched it, I hit him up. It was like, hey, I haven't read you in yet, but like, hey, this is what we're working on. And he's like, done. Like, it was like, and to go even further, we never even agreed on commercial terms until it was done. And I was like, hey, we should probably like work out the royalty and all the, and he's like, oh yeah, it's fine. We'll work it out. Right. Because it was always about the relationship, and it was about his also understanding of where the hobby was, anything that, like, yeah, it totally makes sense to do this with a brand that was going to be for culture cards as opposed to taking it to Topps or Panini or somewhere where it would have been an afterthought. So
All right. Awesome. Go ahead, Josh.
Yeah, I mean, you probably already know my question, but it's just like, why the VeeFriends first? Like, why is that the first choice versus? And I know that the zerocool is more pop culture and it's not sports cards, so I think that probably is most of the answer. But yeah, go ahead.
No, but that's true. But the whole idea of zerocool is that it's everything related to culture other than sports, which means not only traditional IP like TV and movies, which is usually what we've seen in sets. Like right now, obviously Marvel cards are going through the roof. Rittenhouse has made Game of Thrones and Star Trek, so it's usually been traditional IP. So I've always wanted to build trading cards for every other aspect of it. So how do you have trading card sets for rappers or for musicians or fashion designers, and or brands, right? How about having Peloton? How about doing a trading card set for Peloton, which has become a very important part of our culture right now, and the Peloton instructors becoming very important people in our culture right now, right? So it's all of that. And so as we talk through it, obviously Gary's relationship to the hobby, a collector, all of that was important. But also, this is about culture and what's important. And right now, is there anything that is a bigger, more interesting topic than NFTs in our culture? Love it, hate it, whatever. Like, there's a tremendous amount of money, a tremendous amount of companies and people moving towards it. So it's an important part of our culture right now. And so all of those things combined, made sense. And we also wanted to do something that we knew would have real long-term value and the possibility to have extraordinary long-term value. And given what I know that Gary is doing with VeeFriends, and I mean, this is now his lifelong goal, is to make VeeFriends IP on the same level as Pokemon and Harry Potter and Star Wars or Disney, that there's a real possibility between it being zerocool's first set ever and VeeFriends' first set ever, that, I don't know, man, like, this could be really, really valuable in the future if those two things both end up being what we think they can be.
Mm-hmm. Well, so knowing what you know about our opinion of NFTs, you should take that into the context of my question, and knowing what you know about sort of this semi-holy war that's come up of like NFTs versus physical cards. What is your thought process of making the first physical card a choice of NFT? Like, did you think through the sort of, I don't want to call it irony, but the fact that it's this crossover of like NFTs coming over to physical? What is your thought on that?
Yeah, no, I mean, that absolutely is part of it, right? I mean, there's all of these factors really go into making this the perfect set to release with. But that idea that, NFTs are just a JPEG or whatever, like, it's about I don't want to say like it's about the community. It almost sounds cliche, right? But it is about it's about all the things around that NFT set. And there are plenty of examples of NFT projects that are simply just JPEG, that the creators have not put anything behind it, no utility, right? But Gary's probably one of the three most important VeeFriends is probably one of the three most important NFT projects in terms of all the value they've created, what they're trying to do with it. So it really is about our belief that that IP, that those characters are and will become even more important characters. And it happens to be that they started on NFTs, but I don't even know the answer to this, but where did Pokemon start at? Did it start as a game or a TV show or whatever, but now it's trading cards and lunchboxes and like everything else, right? I'm at Disney World for the next week, right? Like that started with a cartoon that Walt Disney drew, and now what's Disney, right? So that's really the bigger point.
Okay, Josh, do you have more? Because I have a question.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. I have another one later.
Yeah. Okay. So, first of all, I want to repeat the fact that VeeFriends is one of the most important NFT projects in the space. Here's the angle I'm coming at everything from right now is we have turned the tables on the NFT community, which has come into our space and began poaching collectors, which is a huge pet peeve of mine. And I fight the battle against them every day. In fact, I pointed out not long ago that Bitcoin is down 29% this year. And so in other words, Bitcoin is showing a greater inflationary tendency than the dollar over at least 10% of its life so far. So the dollar is now a hedge against Bitcoin. Sports cards are now a hedge against NFTs, where it was once inverted. It was once the opposite way. And maybe it'll flip back again.
Yeah.
So Gary mentioned a series 2 of VeeFriends coming out, and like based on the success and the hype of this one, that's going to be a pretty crazy release as well, even though it won't have the novelty of being the first. Are there plans to take more NFT property, more NFT IP, and maybe even spin off into an NFT series of just CryptoPunks and Bored Apes, and like are there plans to do something like that?
So yes, but it's not just about NFTs. It's about all of the categories. If you think about, I actually, excuse me, I had I had a diagram that I should have. Hold on one second. Excuse me. I had a diagram, and maybe I can send you guys later, and we can actually post it. Which is, it's basically all the different categories that we think zerocool ends up being in. And the first year we'll have, I don't know how many releases, a half a dozen, whatever it is. Maybe it's like one a month, something like that. But Topps made 127, 128 different sets last year. So what does zerocool look like when we're at that scale? Well, you probably have 10 different categories, media, entertainment, politics, business, NFTs, brands, it's something like that. And I'm sort of blank off the top of my head, but it's like that. It starts to break out where, you have these defined categories. And then within each of them, just like we have with sports, you'll have high-end product, you'll have low-end product, you'll have mass retail product, you'll have stuff that we sell as blind Dutch auctions, you'll have stuff that'll be on the shelf at Target, same thing. As we build these categories out in the same way that it did that. So the answer is yes to NFTs, but also for all of those other categories.
Gotcha. Because I think it would be the ultimate plot twist if the end game is that we poach all of the digital collectors
Yes.
and bring them to our world. That to me is evil laugh, pinky to the mouth, sipping tea with sunglasses on, gangster meme. All of it. I want all of it.
I support all of the memes of you. So however we want to, continue to make those, I'm on board with that. But it really is about, like your point is so dead on. I mean, I know like the comic aspect I get, and I get that you now have a lifelong mission to basically, defund the entire NFT world. But right, look, the only way we grow the hobby is by bringing in more people. And I can't convince Kim Kardashian fans to like basketball cards, but if I make cards of Kim Kardashian, then they're way more likely to buy trading cards, right? It's that simple, right? So whether it's for music or art or fashion or NFTs, like all the same concept, like this is how we grow the hobby, this is how we bring more people in, because nobody just likes one thing in their whole life. Like people like sports, but they also like, I don't know, fashion, or they like concerts or whatever, right? So this is how we grow the whole thing.
Awesome.
Next question is that Chris and I, as sports card collectors, are extremely jealous of this release. And where do we get our taste of? I know, again, zerocool is not sports, but where do we get our sort of taste at this? Because zerocool to me and this release is kind of like the coming out party for like the new Fanatics trading card. So where do we get our taste of this for sports cards?
So a couple different ways. First of all, this was the release of the first zerocool product, but the zerocool brand, and most importantly, truly, is the technology platform, is the ability to sell cards using market-based pricing, blind Dutch auction being one mechanism. But this is about the start of an integrated customer experience for all card collectors, sports, culture, etc. And just to make it easier for people to come in, to learn about the hobby, to buy, etc. And so we will use these mechanisms and technology platform to support sports cards at some point. And we will sell, including selling some products as blind Dutch auctions. But because we now have licenses for multiple sports and culture, I really want to be able to have products that cut across that. So, sure, there's sets for basketball, baseball, football, culture, but what if there's a set for, I forget where, what city are you guys in? You guys live in different cities, right? Josh, in
Arizona, Phoenix, yeah.
Okay. So what if there's a Phoenix set and it's just 100 of the most interesting people that are from Phoenix, and it could include baseball players, and could include basketball players, it could include dentists, it could include right, politicians,
dentists.
business people. Yeah.
Fuck the dentist. No dentist.
It could include Cardboard Chronicles.
Yeah. Right. So like the ability to have cross product also, I think, plays into this. Because I'm like, zerocool as a brand has a much harder challenge than Topps, Panini, Upper Deck, the sports, because of the process of licensing, the process of creating these cards is way more cumbersome. In sports, you need 2 licenses. You need the league and the PA. That's it. You don't go person to person, everybody in the NBA, to make basketball cards. Mm-hmm. So here we have to do that in order to bring more people into this space. So that's our challenge. That's fine. Happy to do things that don't scale in the beginning and bring it in. But if we do, we open this up to things that we never had, like creating a set for Phoenix that includes 80 people that aren't athletes, but that are important people there. Maybe they're rock stars or whomever. So that also becomes, we all benefit from that as well.
So how did the Dutch auction go? How do you feel like it executed the tech, your guys' platform?
Yeah,
what are your thoughts on that?
Let's recap the stats on that too. Clearing price of $21.50, almost 25,000 bids.
Yeah, I think 22,400 bids or something like that. Just over 22,000 bids. Clearing price is $21.50. We will. I don't have the exact number. I think it was around 4,000 different people, somewhere between 4,000 and 5,000 different people that purchased it. We're working around the clock right now. On Monday, hopefully Monday, maybe Tuesday, we're going to put out a blog post that is the deep dive into this. Every data point you could possibly imagine. If I can figure out the right way to do it, I'm also probably going to put up a data set and allow people to just download the data themselves and mess around with it, to go into all of that, because I want people to learn as much as possible how this worked, and there's nothing that we can't share. The technology was flawless. I mean, there's always little bugs the first time you release something, but I don't know if you've met our guys yet, but man, they're extraordinary. I mean, the team we've built so far at Fanatics Collectibles is awesome. The technology team is amazing. So that worked well. The evolution of that becomes really interesting. Think about a world where there's like a self-service blind Dutch auction. So we're the platform, and we put that up, and anyone who wants can come and say, hey, I want to sell, XYZ there, and all you're doing is, I don't know, uploading assets, and then you run and let the thing run, because all that is a mechanism to allow people to bid and buy it. So so that worked out really well. Personally, I think the price was like almost exactly where I thought it would be. I thought it would be somewhere between like 1,500 to 2,500. Totally happy with that. That feels right. Boxes are already selling for more on eBay. I saw at least a couple that sold for over $5,000. We'll see, how that evolves as people get boxes in hand and people start selling singles, all of that. But it feels about right. The whole point of this is trying to somehow manage to let the market set the price in a fair way, right? And everyone asked me, how much should I bid? What are they worth? What are they going to be worth? I was like, truly, bid what you think it's worth. I was like, that the only way this works at a macro level, right, is if everybody is unbiased and just bidding which is why, by the way, there's no like time, there's no trying to beat other people's bids, there's no trying to force action. It's like, hey, you got 3 days, take your time, and place a bid. So it really did go off without a hitch, and I think the results kind of speak for themselves. Last data, and then the only data point I do know is 97.2% of the people paid less than what their bid is, which is always the best part of the Dutch auction mechanism, right? That the clearing price goes down. The other 3% paid exactly $21.50, but everyone else had bid more than $21.50 and then only paid $21.50.
Yeah, that's great for customers. The blind Dutch auction is like less tech. It's like there's no time, there's no like countdown, there's no like keeping track of snipe bids. It's like a simpler thing for the tech side. And one last thing, the compliment I give you is that this is like the first time I didn't hear anything about the tech, which is a compliment to the tech team in that you don't hear about it. It worked. It's smooth. No problems. You don't want to hear about it, right? It's just like you want that to be the constant. So congrats on that.
Yeah. Thanks, man. You know what the number one complaint was? Well, there's two. The top two complaints during the course of it were, you guys want to take a guess? Any idea?
Did you already say them on Jeremy Lee's show?
Yeah.
Yeah, well then I already know they are. No international, and you can only buy 40.
And you can only buy 40. And of the two...
Do I get an A+ on this test?
Yeah, no, we'll make a meme of this for you. We'll add to the list of Chris memes. So the number of people who said something about the 40 limit was a lot. And we're like, oh, damn. Do you know how many people actually bought 40?
I
Nobody?
do not know that answer.
Two people. Okay. 2 people bought 40. There must have been, I don't know, 30, 40, 50 people that emailed, tweeted, said something, and they were so mad that you could only buy 40, and only 2 people bought 40. So.
Were you one of them, Josh?
Were you one of them, Josh?
No.
They're talking to me.
Oh. No.
Either of you, actually.
Yeah.
So is there look, obviously this is a huge win for anybody who bought, because the secondary market price is already 2 to 3x what the clearing price was. But is there any impulse on your side, the manufacturer side, to say, damn, maybe we should figure out a way to capture a little bit of those gains, because these are obviously instantly worth more than what the clearing price was?
No, it's the whole just economic hypothesis behind it is that it should go up, right? If you take the number of bids that won, and that's a sample set for the world at large, right? You can never have everyone in the world participate at the same time. So there were there's 800 winning bids, right? I think the top bid, I want to say, was like $100,000 or someone, or $102,000. Someone understood the mechanism, right? The fact that they. By the way, if 801 people bid $100,000, then you're fucked. But anyway, so the top bid was like $100,000, and then you get into some more. There's a whole lot of bids around $10,000. We'll publish all this. But if that is a sample of the world at large, then some people truly value that box at $5,000 or $8,000 or whatever it is. So when you bring it down to $21.50, there's all that headroom because once you open up secondary market, now it's the whole world is there, and so it should rise. Like the whole logic behind this is it should rise. Now, there's less of a gap than if it had been a retail product and we tried to price this at $400 a box or try to come up with something, right? But if it was $400 a box, then the process of acquiring that box would have been impossible. It would have been bedlam and chaos and sites crashing and all that different stuff. So yeah, like that's exactly how it should be. And by the way, if we release a product later that is more of a retail product that has way more supply, and the clearing price is $100, should still happen, right? Maybe it goes to $200 or $150 or whatever it is. But the whole concept of the blind Dutch auction is exactly that should happen.
Got it. Josh, we don't want to keep you too long, man, especially on your vacation. So let me just, Josh, you have anything you want to wrap up? Because Josh has been on the podcast circuit. You can check him out on Lucas Tigers LeBron, Sports Cards Nonsense. Yep. You can check him out on Jeremy Lee Sports Cards Live. We just had a couple extra little asterisk questions.
Always happy to come and fuck around in coffee mugs and see Josh.
So Josh Johnson, is there any last question?
No.
Josh Luber.
No, I'm going to Disneyland in a month, so I know, the stress and, having a family around you. So please, if, take the time you need to get out of here and go have some fun.
No, I'm good, man. Thanks, guys. I will. I'll see you in a couple weeks, right? I'll see you in Vegas.
Yes.
Excellent.
Congrats, Josh.
Congrats, man.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it, guys. Appreciate the support. And I'll see you
Buddy.
then.
Take
Bye.
care. There we go.
Dude,
There we go.
he makes me like not hate the NFT space. He's just like a genuine guy that like, I don't know. He just like treats it the right way. Like if you're gonna go about it, and he's also like very aware of you and I and how we treat it, and he's accommodating towards that. So he's just like a really humble, easygoing guy. I love chatting with him.
Yeah. I did take. I had one little. He said NFTs are like the hottest topic or the biggest topic in culture right now, and maybe they are, but that just. Maybe I'm just so disconnected from culture. I never hear about NFTs. But yeah, I mean, my culture is looking at finely curated lists of Mavericks beat reporters and listening to Bill Simmons podcasts and going on Clubhouse.
The fact that we spend time shitting on it is kind of proof that it's still like it's there. Like the topic is there. It's present whether we like it or not.
So maybe like a way to take that is like NFTs have become so prevalent in this moment that the very difficult veneer of the sports card hobby to crack, it's so insulated, but NFTs are like the one thing that have somehow cracked it. How
I think that's right.
about that for something nice to say about NFTs? But I was looking at the NFT index today.
Ooh.
I was looking at the NFT
On cardladder.com?
No, sir.
Oh. On like OpenSea.ai?
On coinmarketcap.com. Here's what the NFT index looks like today. All right, so this is year to date. So on January 1st, this index was worth 3,200, and then today this index is worth 1,630.
So it's been halved.
It's been halved. And
Let's go to the CL50 now.
And also, let's just like get some more context here. So like, let's look at the last year. So the last year, a year ago, it was at 633. There was a giant run up over the winter. It peaked at about 4,300 in November, which directly coincides with when Bitcoin peaked. And now it's back down. It's down to 1,600. And the last time it was that low was in October. So there's been a correction, still higher by quite a bit from where it was before. But yeah, and you look, the floor on CryptoPunks has come down quite a bit.
Right.
Valley's CryptoPunk offering, they bought it for $500,000. They IPO'd it at $600,000. It's now the floor price for that particular NFT is $197,000. So look. Yeah. NFT folks have felt the pain, as Sheik points out, that people in the card space have felt.
Yeah.
But they're not. Look, nothing goes up forever. Things correct. Definitely up fast.
I'm so sick of talking about NFTs. Can you please show me the box score for the Laker game and particularly the LeBron points section?
Can we take a second that okay.
Oh, here we go. All right. Holy crap. Dude, you're not gonna believe this.
Oh, I believe it. I already know. Everyone in the chats alerted me of the score of the point total. I want to know the score of the game.
Here's the Lakers box score. For tonight. Jersey.
I've been had.
Jersey.
I've been had.
Box score for the Lakers tonight. All right, let's there you go. This way.
Did they win? No, I want to know if they won.
But let it be noted that LeBron has now 2 50-point games, and they did beat the Wizards handily.
Is he the first player to hit 250 burgers this season?
No, Jason Tatum was.
Oh, you're right. Good call.
But he is second.
The chat thought that you were going to show a trash can or a dump when you said, let's take a look at the NFT index.
You should have.
Yeah. So, what a night of basketball.
God, dude.
What did he say?
MJ would have had 51.
Skip Bayless is in the chat. MJ would have averaged 90 points in this era, minimum.
Can you? Oh my God, I'm so tired of that stuff. Like, LeBron would have sucked in the 90s. They're too physical for him. Are you kidding me? He's like 280 pounds. Jordan himself had a quote this week where he said he personally named 4 players that would have been great in his era, or the only 4 that would have made it. Or right? Yeah.
And who were they? I didn't catch this.
It was LeBron, Kobe, Dirk, and Duncan.
So 4 of the 10 best players of all time. Or
Yeah.
I guess Dirk is top 17 or something.
Can we just say this? Michael Jordan is not
A talent evaluation?
One of his yes, thank you. One of his skills is not evaluating talent of players other than himself. There's never been a strong suit of this. He's like, I think that LeBron guy's pretty good. It's like, Jesus Christ, MJ.
Oh, that's funny.
Like, is Adam Morrison still good? I think I should draft that guy. Kwame Brown, anyone?
Any more debriefing here?
No. No. I want to get back to questions. Let's go.
Zero cool. All right. It was many cool that Josh Luber came on, even though he's on a vacation.
Yes, and shout out AC. I doubt she's watching, but for coordinating with me, one of his team members. Everyone over at Zero Cool, congratulations. I know they have been barely sleeping for like the last month. So, because they answer my emails like super late at night when I'm doing pendings. So, congratulations, guys. And that's it.
Dude, mad respect for telling us about the product just a few days before and then launching it and then having no problems. I mean,
Yeah.
that's not an easy thing to do.
And doing what he said he was going to do. And
Yeah.
Exactly right.
I can only think of one other business in this industry that performs that way.
All right. Mr. LAGN says, can you guys discuss Pokemon overtaking basketball as the most graded category at PSA? And sure enough, in the month of February, most graded and shipped, meaning the cards were graded and shipped, and nearly 250,000 Pokemon were graded, edging out basketball. But 227,000 Pokemon, 212,000 basketball were graded and shipped in February. However, the most submitted in the month of February 22, which is the opposite of graded and shipped. Graded and shipped is stuff that's at the tail end of the production chain. Most submitted is at the very beginning. All right, most submitted, basketball is first, baseball is second, football is third, and Pokemon is fourth. So, like, just to contextualize that a little bit, like, Pokemon was submitted in great quantities when grading was super cheap, and this is backlog clearing right now.
Yes.
This is not...
They're in the Pokemon phase.
Yes, during the Pokemon boom, the great Pokemon boom.
The PSA is in the phase in which they're clearing the backlog of Pokemon specifically. Like, they're focused on getting through that part of it.
There you go. So, anything else to say, though? I mean, obviously, dude, almost 250,000 Pokemon cards are graded. That's a lot of cards.
Dude, I think we're getting into this world now where, like, we're getting VeeFriends cards and, different, like, pop culture cards. Pokemon cards themselves, like, people might want to group Pokemon cards with that stuff. I'm telling you that's a mistake, because Pokemon cards have been around since 1999. They have a lot of history. They've been collectible for a really long time. They have a massive community of people that only focus on collecting the cards of Pokemon, and they've had it for a really, really long time. There's been forums built around it. And so you know how I am about the history of this stuff. Like, you've got to have a really strong foundational base of people that have done it for a long time. Pokemon has that. These other ones could get there. You could have a VeeFriends collector base in 20 years, but until 20 years are here, I can't, say that they have that, but Pokemon does. So, rant over.
Awesome. Good. All right. Next, 90s B-ball card says, I need to trim down my collection, but I don't have a ton of time to dedicate to listing, fielding offers, shipping, and all of that. but a lot of my cards are ungraded and valued between $25 and $500. What are your suggestions for the best way to approach this? Should I use Wharf for graded and another consignor for the rest? What should I do?
Yeah, I like that last one. Dude, Propstein's still really solid for raw. I know that like Propstein takes some shit from, you know, like different aspects of the hobby, but like he still is a very efficient business that sells raw cards on eBay and gets you paid. So I mean, if you're looking for that service, just, you know, send it to Propstein as raw.
DC Sports is also being mentioned. Wharf is great for eBay consignment and
for graded. Yeah, that's graded.
For graded, indeed. Okay, Kevin M. Cormier. Who is worse, shill bidders or people who refer to their favorite team as we?
What's that word?
We?
What is that? Oh, we.
Like we won.
Like they're on the team.
Like the Lakers won tonight. We won tonight.
Is there anything wrong with that? What am I?
Apparently, it's on the level with shilling auctions.
Yeah. Is that? I mean, obviously the answer is shilling, but like, is the we thing? Does that annoy you?
I use we.
Yeah.
I don't see how that annoys me. I like that actually. It's a community of a team.
Yeah, like we played
There's someone who
against the Rockets.
Did the Mavericks win tonight?
They did. We did. I like they. Honestly, I like they when I'm trying to be serious, and I like we when I'm just clowning. But when the Bulls play the Mavericks, I am divided against myself. It's a we versus us.
No, it's not though.
It's like what happens when the Suns play the Lakers? Who's the we? The Suns?
Yes. Well, dude, maybe like don't tell anyone, even though we're on a live show. But like, I went to the Suns playoff games rooting for the Lakers, like, and it was really. And then literally, I'm not kidding you. I went to game 5, and the Suns fucking clobbered them. And at the end of the game, I was like, I'm rooting for the Suns now. Like, I don't fuck it. The series is over. I might as well start prepping for the next round of the Suns. Like, I'm rooting for the Suns now. But now, if it was this year, I would root for the Suns.
Shout out one of we, Chris Carter, ahead of us all. Okay, so but PHLC 2244 says, "Lol, did you contribute to it?" Actually, I did.
Yes, I did. I did, motherfucker, with my money and my screaming at the games.
Okay. Little hostile towards our great audience, but that's par for the course. All right. No offense intended, PH. All right. Okay, Corey. No. Corey is trying to complicate things quite a bit. All right. Daniel Sanderson says, how do you know when it is the right time to spend more than comps on a card?
Seek that he says we can take it. Yeah, Chris, come on, give our audience some credit.
They get offended either way, I see.
What was the question?
How do you know when it's the right time to spend more than comps on a card?
Oh man, on those rare PC cards, you got to go for them. You just got to pay, dude. You are the king of this. Answer this question for the folks. Like you put up monster offers and big numbers. Like, just give me the card.
If it's a card that sells frequently, then do not pay over comps, because comps are very influential on the market for that card, and they govern how people think about it. This is my thought process. This is not advice. This is me telling you how I look at it. If it's a very rare card and the only comp is from 6 months ago, and before that it's from 2 years ago, that comp is at best a baseline, a guide post at best. And so, I'm happy to go over that comp personally.
Dude, what about like a 1-of-1 rookie card of like your favorite player?
Oh man. In that world, you just
just
pile up all of your money.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you just hand over your money and you say, "Now give me a card."
you just make the pile as big as possible, and then
I've done it.
plunge.
You say, Jesus, take the wheel.
Should we get a live look at my bank account after that purchase?
No, please.
There we go. Thank you. Okay.
I love that I can just, whenever I need to now, just like very subtly, like just enough to like, there you go.
Oh, man, the trash can's ready to go. All right. Sweat 47. Sweat 47.
The portable trash can.
Trash on demand. Also known as the Monday Night Football crew.
Oh, you son of a bitch.
All right. Sweat 47 says, what do you do to convince a seller with an outrageous bin price to sell you the card at market value? So it's like the opposite question. And I know Chris would just hit the bin, but Josh, what would you do?
He's just going straight to me. Smart. Smart. I know. He's like, Chris, I know you're a degenerate. You just hit that freaking bin. Dude, this is like the most annoying thing ever. So like, I don't, there's not a good answer, but I guess, message them and tell them how much of a great collector you are. Tell them how much you're going to cherish this card for the rest of your life. And you'll never flip it and you're going to love it forever. Send them comps as best you can. Do your best to use data to try to convince them. There's really not much you can do. Like you're sort of at the mercy of the seller. I have a card like this. There's a card on eBay that I've set on the show that I really want, and it's just sitting there in a bin that's just way too high. I'm not going to do it. And I've gone back and forth with them for weeks, and they're just like, well, I don't want to sell it. I'm like, well then, I don't want to buy it.
Sometimes there's just not a deal to be made. Is that fair?
I think, yeah, I wouldn't chase it in this, like, based on the spirit of the question, don't chase it, to your point.
Yep, I agree. I've just within the last few weeks, I've bowed out of trying to land a second-year Luca Prism Gold, and just bowed out because the price was too high and it was too high for me. But I guess, huh?
I was just gonna say that, like, sellers, everyone has a price. Like, we also have a price where we stop and draw the line and say, like, no, I'm not gonna freaking mortgage my future to get this card. Eventually we got to stop too.
Yeah. Yep. Agreed. Mostly 90s basketball card says, what basketball products would you like to see get the blind Dutch auction treatment? Assume that there would be the same release style and the same transparency as zerocool's VeeFriends. Meaning we know the full checklist. We know the number of boxes that are being released. We know how many are being held back. We know how many each person can purchase. Like, what are some basketball products that you would like to see released in that fashion?
All of them? I don't know.
Does this kind of mean that, like, the first off the line arbitrage opportunities are back?
I mean, because the people who bought the VeeFriends ones are like, doubling or tripling their money, you're going to see more people get a little more bold next time and put in those 100K bids.
Oh, no. That's so scary. We were talking about that earlier tonight. We were like, somebody just puts in $1 million bid just to make sure that they win.
If you did that, you would have tripled your money. Yes,
but what if, like, half the people put in $1 million bids and the other half put $500,000 bids because they're just like, I don't want to worry about it. I just want to, I know I won't be the lowest bid, but they are. It happens in cards. Two people will get into a bidding war, and a card that's $500 will go for $5,000, but it's really not a bidding war. It's just two people both sniped an absurd amount, hoping it would guarantee that they won it. Like, it happens. It definitely happens.
I'm a more of a math fiend on this, and I'm like, there's going to be someone else. Like, the statistics show that someone's going to put in that lower bid.
Yeah, I agree with that. There should be.
But one of these days.
Clearing price, VeeFriends 2, $90,000.
You got to put the fear in it so that someone else is fearful and they put in the lower bid, and then I'll just continue to be the one that puts in the $1 million bid.
It's called free riding. Actually, I don't know. I don't know if that's not really free riding.
But people are going to catch on, right? Like, hey, this is free money. Let's jump in and bid, double our money.
Reminds me of the good old days, doesn't it?
A little bit. Dude, that was fun. I was walking around my office at work being like, who wants to make some money today? Y'all want to buy some Prism boxes?
That's why I asked him. I was like, does it sting at all knowing that like these boxes are already on the secondary market going for 2 or 3x? Because Panini fairly said, once the first off the line thing started getting caught on to, they're like, okay, we're doing different. We're doing a reverse Dutch auction. And, so, but they don't seem to mind. Which is great. Look, if there's a manufacturer out there who says, we believe this is fair and transparent, we understand that secondary market values are going to be huge right away. I mean, that's glorious. But you would think eventually it would reach an equilibrium price where, like, people get more and more confident in the amount that they're willing to pay at the clearing price, and then the secondary market value.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think this is going to be the most extreme. It's going to start to level out. These markets always work themselves out, Chris. Like, people and their money, it always ends up just kind of mathematically working itself out. There's just always these little pockets where you can get the free money, but it's not going to last forever.
Indeed. All right, Seek Heat. Let's jump to a question about that. I can't even find it right now, but there was a question that came. Oh, okay. There's a question that came in. Oh, here it is from Yao Ming Collector 11. What are some of your favorite 90s football sets?
Football sets. I like the Playmakers Theater.
For football?
Because they're like silver instead of gold. And they're like kind of shiny.
Yeah, let me see if I can get a picture pulled up. This Barry Sanders has a really cool looking one.
And then cut above has the spikes on the top and the bottom.
Yeah, that's actually huge.
And I got one more. The credentials are different. The 96 credentials, the silver, silver backgrounds, they're like a sparkly silver. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes, and I like the basketball one better.
Yes. Do you like these better than basketball right here?
I have never seen one in hand. Do they shine?
A little bit.
Good looking card.
I like these football ones better for that. I'm with you on the credentials, though.
Yeah, and I know other people don't feel that way, but the football one, I actually don't even really like it.
Yeah, it's a little bit too much.
And let me show a picture of.
Here we go.
Basketball. No, I'm not. This is a picture of the basketball one. All right, the basketball Playmakers Theater.
I feel like the red stain. It's just
the red stain. When I first discovered this card, and there was one on eBay, and I was like, I messaged the guy, and I was like, could you explain that red stain on the card?
Did you spell Kool-Aid on your card, bro?
I was like, I was so serious. I was like, have you graded this before? Like, and he was like, I'm pretty sure that's part of the card design, pal.
Back when we were noobs, bro.
Back when we were noobs. Noobins. All right. Nines Are Fine says, what are your top 3 Chromium products if Fanatics ends up acquiring Panini in addition to Topps? Your top 3 Chromium products.
This is great. We are going to disagree. Topps Chrome 1, Finest 2, Prism 3.
Finest is to me, it's 1A and 1B between Prism and Topps Chrome. And then 3 is just like the field. Take your pick. There's so many. What about Optic?
I'm pretty interested.
What about Optic, huh?
Nah. I want to make Optic a thing, but Finest is dope. I'm pretty interested to know that you would have picked my Topps Chrome.
Yeah.
That's the one I get the most DMs about. That's so stupid. No, I literally I thought that was interesting. I didn't think you would say that.
Yeah, why?
Because you're thinking like the iconic Topps Chrome, like you don't have any Topps Chrome cards, so it's
yes, I do. I have 2 Le'Veon Bell Topps Chrome Superfractors.
Thank you very much.
You want to see them? Since you don't even know that you don't even know you don't have my collection memorized.
You have both of those cards in like the last 2 weeks.
Hold on a minute. Can I just enjoy you enjoying my collection? Hold on.
You get a lot of DMs about these, so it's not just me.
No, I got more DMs about this card than almost any other card.
That's a dope card.
There were so many questions asked about this one too. So many.
Like what the fuck could people ask about that?
And look, these are available for the right price, but just know that I get a lot of questions about this one. A lot.
I now know, so thank you. That's a good thing you told me because I didn't know until you told me.
All right, good. So
we enjoyed that way too much.
Still going through the questions about that one, actually.
Yeah, knowing you won't even freaking click on the notification. You just leave them hanging. I have to respond to all those people. The burdens of dealing with all the DMs I get. Click on them all. There's a live look at me after I click on 100 DMs.
So he can't get messages.
How do you know he doesn't?
He might.
What did she say?
She says she's surprised you don't have more people blocked so that you don't get messages. And I said, how do you know he doesn't?
Just like to reduce my own burden.
All right. Mostly 90s basketball cards says the weather is getting nicer in New York City. Are we going to get a card letter trade night at Bleecker Trading this summer? Or how about one at For the Hobby in Wisconsin with Jordan Hagedorn? Could we get a card letter trade night up there maybe? So what do you think? Card letter trade night appearances at Bleecker or For the Hobby?
I would prefer to see my buddy Jordan. We haven't hung out with Jordan in a while.
Mm-hmm.
That's long overdue.
It is.
Is Jordan coming to Mint?
Is Jordan coming to Mint? Maybe DM Jordan about that.
Okay. He gets a lot of DMs about that.
Okay, all right.
Oh,
right. Oh, right.
No, I will.
Christina's getting a lot of DMs asking you to stop.
Oh, that's very meta of you, Chris.
All right, Slab Sanity says Deshaun Watson. Where does he land now? Because the big Deshaun Watson news is criminal charges will not be brought against him.
I don't want to touch any part of the legal part of that because I don't know enough about it, and I don't want to say something wrong and stupid. But just on the team front, Buccaneers.
Ooh, my dad was telling me today that Seattle may have had him in mind, and that's why they wheeled and dealed Wilson.
Yeah, but the Bucs are just like ready-made for just like plug and play for another good quarterback. They've already got the roster around it,
Seahawks have some firepower too.
Nah. Well, their receivers are good, but they're like they released Bobby Wagner. Like they're like shedding some salary right now. I just think the Bucs are a little bit more ready-made, but yeah, I get the receivers. You have a good point.
Trading Card Brothers. Do you know what this is about? Trading Card Brothers says the doors versus the wheels debate.
Yes, dude.
You do?
So yeah. last night on Inside the NBA, they got a tweet that was like, me and my buddies are all talking about this. Are there more doors or wheels that exist in the world? And so the whole crew talked about it for like 5 minutes.
All right, because I pulled up the Yahoo article because I just couldn't even believe that this is a thing. A debate about whether there are more wheels or doors in the world has dominated social media. People have been passionately posting rants about why they believe one side over the other. The discussion follows other trivial internet discussions that get heated, like the color of the dress debates. All right.
Right. Well, so
what's there more of?
So the context of it was like, are we counting cabinet doors as doors, and are we counting like, like Wheel of Fortune wheels, or is it just like car wheels versus like doors, into rooms and homes?
Well,
it was like, what's the spirit of the question?
Here's one for you, Josh. What about car doors? Because wouldn't those most of the time cancel out
car wheels?
Right. So to me, the spirit of the question is, it's like doors that are in buildings, like into homes or into rooms, or wheels on cars, golf carts, transportation things. Right.
Okay, so car doors don't count, subway doors don't count. Okay,
yeah,
well, that's
like
very
Hot Wheels cars, like plastic Hot Wheels cars don't count for wheels and doors and stuff. Like, yeah.
Well,
the spirit of the question is like cars or like buildings with doors kind of thing.
Well,
I say doors.
Even not counting?
Yeah, because think about all the apartment buildings in New York City. All those high-rises that have doors to the apartments, doors to stairwells, doors to bedrooms in those apartments, doors outside the building, like doors to the roof, and that's just New York. They easily pace wheels in that city.
Yeah. Yeah. And even if we start counting doors to cars, it just gets more ridiculous. I said doors as well.
What do you think?
It's a home run for doors if car doors count.
Yeah. But also, I think we should probably count bicycle wheels.
I am.
Okay.
Is there an answer to this question? No. Nobody's commissioned the study on wheel population?
Well, what about
and I think if you...
Do train wheels count? Wagon wheels?
I think so.
Fucking wagon wheels are.
But if you... I feel like the more that you attempt to include wheels by not cheating the game, but extending the ridiculousness of the game, I can do it with doors much easier than you can with wheels. I can say cabinet doors, and if you're oh, Hot Wheels cars, there's doors on a lot of those Hot Wheels cars, fake little doors. I could make the door one. I could keep up with you with doors that cheat the game.
Is there a hidden supply of wheels that we're just not thinking about? Cars have wheels, bikes have wheels, motorcycles have wheels. Is there
No, we're not.
No, we're not missing some big wheel deposit somewhere. Trains. Do trains not have wheels?
Yes, they do.
But trains have doors too. It's if you want to play that game.
Trains have tracks.
Oh my god, you're an idiot.
But a wheel, Chris, isn't a rubber piece around. It's the shape of the wheel, a rotating circle that moves an object.
All right, somebody spot the wheel. Let's play a game of spot the wheel.
Right
well, okay,
there,
so
it's right there and it's right there. How's those not wheels? The wheels guide on the track.
Yeah, bruh. So you say doors, Chris? Is this even a debate for you?
Jordan says we'll never solve this.
Sometimes I wonder if the wheels are even turning in your head.
I'm really unsure about this one, guys.
Oh, come on.
When we're talking doors, does it include the band members? Because that's a handful more.
Follow me through the door of intelligent discussion and pick doors.
I feel like this discussion has been dormant for a long time.
Can we get a live look at the The debate.
With this whole concept? Yeah.
At the people.
But like it got the inside the NBA crew just like spinning their wheels for so long.
Yeah, well, I was watching a video not long ago from the inside the NBA crew of Shaquille O'Neal trying to decide whether the moon is closer than California to their studio in Atlanta. So this is right up their alley. All right, Chad, this is where I'm reading your comments, waiting for Josh to return. We're honestly we are at the ass end of this episode. Christina, do you have anything you want to say to the people before we depart here? Oh, we had a question from Mr. Archer. Jason Tatum. Do you feel like Jason Tatum is slept on in the hobby? Do not mention that to Lamim James. He is not happy about describing a player as being slept on. So
I would say yes.
You would say yes.
Like, I don't know what it is, but I think that he doesn't get, maybe it's that his rookie year was 2017, and potentially it's that, Boston hasn't been that great, his whole career. There's been a lot of drama around Boston, the Celtics, so maybe that's part of it, and they don't go that far, but, I think he's a great player. I don't know, good player.
Tatum's market has moved 0.6%. It's basically nothing over the last 6 months. His market has been just flat. It came down during the season. In late January, it got as low as 2,700. But now his index is back to 3,000, which is where it was at the beginning of the season. So
Yeah, if you show people a list of the players that are 25 or under, you kind of have to pick Tatum near the top of that list, no matter how you slice and dice it.
absolutely.
I agree.
Absolutely.
You're sort of forced to pick him at some point, He's young, he's talented, he can score, he can defend. He's a great defender. Let's not ignore that, right?
Right. Wheelie Mays. Michael Jordan.
Dude, this fucking wheel door thing is now a crossover topic. Or a crossover inside joke.
Yeah. I don't know how I feel about this wheel door thing.
It's not that interesting to me, but I just, I saw it on Inside the NBA and thought it was interesting-ish.
Yeah.
This is how we know that, Chris and I don't, actually follow culture. Because we had no idea this was even a thing.
If you weren't sure before.
Yeah. Well, you were making the argument that, is NFT so big in culture?
No, not is it so big. Is it the biggest thing?
Well, what would you have said was in place of it?
The Ukraine-Russia dispute?
Yeah.
Mike? Dropped.
I can't think of anything clever, so.
Yeah. Gas prices?
Yeah, dude. I was talking to someone that I never talk to on a daily basis. They're never going to see the show. We were talking about, all of a sudden we just started talking about gas prices. I was like, oh my God, I'm such a dad now. I talk about gas prices with other men. God.
Have you seen that segments of Inside the NBA where Shaq is trying to convince Kenny that he'll save money if instead of filling up his tank when it gets to empty and putting $80 in, that if he just once it gets down to 40, just put $20 in, and that way he just pay 20.
I remember that. It's you still got to fill it up again there, Shaq.
That's your average. It's like your average day in Clubhouse. That's when I rewatched those clips the other day, I was like, this is Clubhouse. This is really what it's like on Clubhouse sometimes.
That's the level of sophistication you get?
Well, it's just authentic, right? It's authentic.
If I just divide it by 2, then it's less. Yeah, but then you drive less. You can't go as far, Shaq. You're going to run out of gas faster.
Exactly. Yeah, we didn't get to like 10, 12 questions, which is fine.
Oh my God, we get so many questions.
Yeah, and I didn't even write them all down either. Good questions.
Oh.
We're wrapping up hour 3 here. And I don't know, it's been a good crossover. I can't believe 81 of you are still on.
We've had like 120 strong most of the night.
Feel bad for all of you. Pity you all right now. Remember that one time when we tried to bring Cards and Candy into the live, but he refused to join? Cards and Candy hasn't been sending in that many questions. He sends in a few, he'll get fired up, but you know, he was Embiid, just leading the MVP race by a mile, and now his MVP case is slipping a little bit.
Jokic is catching him. Mostly 90s basketball cards is
Mostly
Jokic.
Mostly 90s is Jokic, and his statistics have been very consistent. 5 solid questions every week or so. Maybe his average is like 3.5. But,
he was like 5 or 6 this week. He was all over that Instagram.
He had a 40-point triple-double this week on the crossover.
He was just fired up about NFTs or something.
Yeah. Did Cage and Andrew already post the podcast with us?
I believe that was live.
Oh, it was live.
Was it?
That's weird. I did not know it was live.
I thought it was
I think at one point. Is she checking?
Yeah.
I think so.
I think at one point I said fuck on that show.
Do they not swear?
I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Do they?
It was live, guys. It was 5 hours ago.
What? Wow. It is posted.
Yeah.
Click it. How many views does it have? 9 million views only?
Yeah.
That's it? We're falling off.
Oh, we better get Gary on the show to pump the numbers.
All right. Great show. See everybody next time.
Card Ladder, the best sports card app on the market. The future of sports cards is here. Card Ladder is the 21st century price guide and market analysis tool for sports cards. The best tools to help you track your cards. Watch the trends, stay informed, compare cards, and track the growth of your personal collection, all in one simple and intuitive platform. Join the innovators, not the imitators. The future is here. The future is now. Card Ladder.